ti we kire say masa baby enjoy with the emphasis
and they say and one no dey nu kwan so bi ka cho say no where cool whoa and then open so yeah down your block phone I say real quick now ya bana ya the stories I'm on now pay live on the show na ya ka say no semens omonso dwumade no gusu akoso na ya o semens ba clinic on okwa wo kɔ no akwa go twa scan okwa ya lab test a wo do na diagnosis ni nyina no wo ma ya mansa na the treatment enso e dia ma massage sene aye physiotherapy so no akoso e wo semens anso enano pay na wo wi no wo je drono ya wo semens Vita held by Meshane ayane capsules ayajuma and after prekeno and also ababuana dre my catch say your front again and no ayachese to say na was what jodia woto adrenewia na number go wa friend na wa kan ya de no e de akira wonum amonso be tro kwan a wo be fa so anum adreno sena be enche bia no wo benya wa ya research so your bana wo libido sem e wo form and wache e bia desire bia no so no kunu and some Shiam saw your banner when you're severe waist pain, or your bema, where you're Jumadent and Alpha Coche, I'm a justice yard in Inano, where J. a Gani Binafe, one so wobble was Siatek and Ebeco, our brow to drone number no, a 0240 6160 61 archers on a yes, Samens and Perfono, and Casabiano, Yamau Kojak Farmer, now Kojak Jumediano, one of the wide range of products, and so now banner, woman Kojak. Charcoal toothpaste and a Kojak regular fluoride ninano as I apostle no and I do choose say ama chasamu num and some atena chasa a sham kama ebasana who kon pama on ferry and what she so yes sukunina moya group studies afei where so for o kasa microphone any adinin na so sansa am sa wonum champagne for sino wo gam ebaba ho ba wo gam benya hoden now support ama sino so ya dwuma ye Nina ya dry fan say I regular fluoride I charcoal toothpaste and some anababwa. Now pro code debi ameka say wow tea efa edwa ya kind of migraine. Wow so tea eta prio and I say bia ho ne bone me no nyina mo sisi I code and I cho and I say flu and some anaba pro code no and also ababwa pa okashi drugland and central marketer do be abeso to be ano won sanso abeka wo fra 0244 559597 when I'm perform and some kasa na high sense and so I say young cancho say omu promo no and obuso akwaso me no kasa we AC promo high sense and perform woman achasa dwumadi no and some akwaso na me no kasa na a free aye 28th of April and some adequacy aye May 8 and a high sense woman say young cancho so mu dwumadi no woman some adequacy sintabia nei we a boy na afraid maybe I will start here where a promo air conditioner benya bi ato and some about them from 1.5 a horsepower and they call a 10 horsepower nina no one sabe can be say split and I say a inverter what you know one per floor standing a motors and no a high sense and so na boade ba kono say and san twe a power bebre enti omo say and esu so asese na lighters no ya to high sense e de bi san say ya tete so and some a day amount and watch no yes some 5 years defect manufacturer warranty and you 5 years manufacturer's defect warranty we no unyan baby a high sense and kwa dema serabea obenya waso 20 men twen ema ofei enwie 8th May and san wa kwa basare dia obeka se bi adeno kra no bia price then ade wo yo wa ya ntire say from 28th of this month ekosi 8th May I was out told here showrooms are across the country maybe aba fabiano womenya bi ensom ato number no 0302 550000 na high sense enyo so ABA way a herbal clinic and na doctor suffer rasta no was say yanka chop sam a glaucoma and how wani odiane yete and some anato so adebawa wo hunu ye no so wakyɛ so awo brɛ ansa no wo ho doctor say yen kan twa se bra na hye no so me say won fa duro enso wani so na the problem aba ne nyina no wo mo duro amoanom oyi wo duro na fa akɔ ni so akwa ya adwuma amo ni so na eso ayo bisir da bia wo pese wani ne nyina no eno nso ebejai eno wo kyese bia wo kidney eno wo liver no obaso we say the city I say yen kan twa se bra stroke and how and I say bema prostate and I also bomb and cerebral enlargement and my more domain chrono what Beneza preschool and our chroman so a quara surgeon say a main market a 2 pay and a ABA herbal clinic and some a juma a 0541 565199 doc and Obekasa.
Losing Dileman Betas and so to me Joshua Abwa Bema. I'm on Pema Gudian and Bibian so at Wakama. So you'll be number or the boy and he says Siana Babesenko. Obi some Adiana Quaquest premature ejaculation and a nurse at 10 Obi so on ma. Then come on and swim to me and Oba. Mr. A Losing Dileman Betas and a Babuao. Who bet him a Wama Correson and some Etimofie and what he said ya Ojon Sautia Ewomo, Ojon Sanemo and Sweatmata. Me Pacha Dileman Betas no and I'm Sabetma Buanoche, Dileman capsules and some air dua. Nasanos Etua Boa Ama Mana, Muka Fichamo Bomb and Sanana and the Mucha Jajonia Dadinano, the Atansa Dileman capsules and some Etma Boamo. I'm a Bibian Etma come a dray about Buanam Poco Yano, and also Etma to a Sabanasa cholesterol, and also Etma Tetewa. One of Nasa Dileman capsules and also Etuasiam. And so atum edamo baby a turn draw and some etimo Ghana fana baby a wokwa unsos etimo kabe 0248619999 and some etimo bonkomo uya no power specialist about hospital jema me doctor kwasua dia no etimo saya dia na dia tennis hepatitis B ASC and I'm posting a fatty liver fibroid and a destination to diam also an and a kidney stone singano woko ma me beto boase no de nubrania bansom atmosaya de afesebia wodi na malaria na tetewa adua beto dua ba malame ano etumara se deku kofka ba mix an obowa eno so ehu na tane afa dua ba tonic no wontumi ne dia obedede ama bia nso eto kama ba bia tondro e Ghana bia ndo ya abubo so nya no wo so ebeta kabinamom wo pe hospital na mam won kan no kwabenya yo SCP Road Power Hospital bus stop eno atikuma se yo fe asobo som tukwa na so dua ya Johnson eno pomo mo takrade aya Nigeria State Bank Tamara Bank Limited 0244544422 Nelson Penifo some etima kasa na bibia some etima fine and so etimi dama na unim say ye kan say yan characteristic for and the India ba mixer and so etimi diaba na India ba mixer de bia me ka tro say bia ban diabetes ba and I tell you, a fabia, a pressure and a hour. What do you need? Unumbia echo, sounds and Azara man capsules. We have Bema Umpama Gudiano, scratches a basso and watchy. Bema be one man, a Bema who a city task Kojoto, Messona Zara man capsules. And I'm also better to ourselves to me Jamal. Now Unum says Zara Mesha, and the G capsules El Jasso, Nampato Sebia and Common so, and San Sabi Agugu so, Utitiana Yokronia Dade, Messo Upano so, and Kai of Efimubano, and then pa unya joibia anam ansobeko enu atisebia ayadese gonorrhea surface brazia ana teto enu so hu na away e mana motenka seme wachi no Zara mesani G capsules ababuao ba bia ton do organa bia wokwa we so ebetima kabi ayane penifonka so 0246348334 na so nom enso atima kasa serious otakukulant ni me confirm adama adava for afa vehicle owners nya muntem na muntem asopam enkane ne adi nsuo aso egu na se na ye engine mo wudi guma na awe na ati na se engine no na ye ni ba se ye hu esanse so ehuna me ehunu sa wudi nsuo egu na se ka ni ma ema na se ka no awe na ati engine we na ati atese nyama se da enkoye asati engine na wode ne so enti se bia pesa u engine na wode gira peme na mpo aya se prevent to can from overheating na the turn so serious autocoolant and abebo ma bia eto kama so den ka ketwa ka kase na mpo se bia ka bia wisu bia no obekono akwaje si osotokukulant be na bibia eto kama na no pai kwasasi an kwakwajo de 0544133169 penifo sweat makasa tabia ba company industry so mo adi nupa webre adi abana udum sam tabia zanikia no anam nso atiwo dwa so eba ne se bia infections outdoor and airtel to abetu ase anam nso atiwi da ma face skin rashes outdoor ni no zanikia no etu ase demo tabia ba na anam posa tabia ba councils sisi ade anam so eda yam team nso atimi da banya no wunya dro bia anam so ebetima ko tabia takum mesawa da oya bema na oba dia tene se ne waten kasama teko agudie e wompam no eno so ni esisisu ya mesonya dro bia anam so ebetu ase anam nso ti da maya fani chemo ewa putoja kumasile road ho eho anatabia ba company industries ewa mo bojuma na mo yeno ne de Ghana ntwam ni ntwa so atopeti be bia wo kwa benya bia to 0243686861 na bibia kama midima fu bedu asem anam nso ti da mantina no pai sa utie me ne mpo de ne stroke anodje ya de ebia ewe Spain oba na be ma ontimengo sa so na bia also the hernia enkwe and no some etimatetewa what do I need to be dima for about center doctor at the time also betimato so na ya de bia etetu bia no eto so etimetra na ka nesanos ama me se onwa e won kra no enya fe na mbe free nka bakuma se e poku asema ira ho na be ko doctor at the time eto so ebu akwa agogo school Johnson e won so do doctor wa at the time Ato Ghana for now so 0244774282 na no doctor and so etima kasa ruta natural product in ewo dwaso na eyeja oba anafe so konkro eja na ruta mixture and abebuaw na no so etima tu na malaria na se deku and so etimi dia free on mo enu ati ayadesa dwumadian ede wonam ya and so etimi bani na no ebetu ase dama ruta life ebuaw ama moja na dia frusanie asakurati na sa improve system no amenu sweat major brane ruta tonic ebo typhoid fever pa and airtel to so betu ase and sweat bi da mantina no pay would ya so bo pini pharmacy and license chemicals of no kwaji ruta natural product enu pa ne be 0242662220 na so no sweat makasa and pa mi bisa say koko aya dia etete wana say onsa na aya ania aya Congo ointment and pa to be so na bibia akokama edema go bi so no ma ojaria na otini wo sa wajari awie no ose no ye no hene candidates and no etmatetewa Congo ointment and betu ase if natural company limited ebetu ni nyase enso atimi diama 2-man capsules ababua no pai say bia ene wa yamra awon pam baba bi won mode boni asesia na no enso etmesane no me pacho ko 2 minutes no me pacho premature ejaculation ni nya no etu ase diama prostate capsules say bia ojonson tentamanato ojonson so wotia ewomo ojonson so fita be fru bemam enso etma ba wodro ni and now no pay me so contact natural infosys here no omema oduonom na bia etimi na kama 0249017101 ne so no man so etma kasa 3p aba anapasa 3p and as etwo jaso nasa 3p garlic mixture and one some ana de tensa maker and so timi dia cho if we plug for akate wom ana dia ba na vitamins and nasa minerals e wodro no aboa ama nasa nei nipadua no so etimi cp esita e say bia menstrual pains and teteo say bia pressure and how we will be a stroke on your de asthma techewa wodro nsa wutia e wo mu a wodro 3p garlic mixture and na babuao na mpotu ase deku and so timi da and na pai ba bia ton dro bia oko na so akwa jodie 0248928824 na so no makasa imulet herbal supplement a full supplementer we bia so etime de etime ma memo a de tensa ahoma chemo sore ma mo ka dokono ma na se nei aya desa mo so mo topa no a de bia da ejaw anamo no me samoda modo no enso nie ebeboa ma system no so etime gira brane ebeboa ama na se nei ya de bia pesa tro konsia don so etime to ase deku enso etime da ma be mani Dianos at my affair. Wimper na padia to Bricana for the chemo, and some extra pharmacy license chemicals of no cocoa jodia. I am kind of from 24 and some 0535 1128 Macas. Our last Star Enterprise, Odambe for one. About the wallpapers, blind curtains, 3D, and a 5D natural design seminar pair, sofa covers, decorative watches and flowers, PVC floor tiles, wall panels, and I have just artificial grass nibia. Walk on one quadrado and pay, shop on FB or the Monocha, Monomonoga. I don't know some at Maba, Mr. Furniture Mokumas at Doom, Yana Prudential Plaza, and a deep Mrs. Anoche Plaza, first floor, and watch and cry. Your circle tipped only one ma, your boy, Jima 0200281080 Akasa.
Okay, may I say, question of the day. Amuzu P. Herbal mixture. Yinruso ena yemfeno emma yashofo. ene yetiefo ene anope amuzu p herbal mixture eno eye infection edro tatahwe eno a na beboa na wayi eye gonorrhea ne syphilis nom ene chese candidiasis nom enso free or system no mo na mama me question of the day no na yemre mo quick ansa na yaba behwe yen quote na for the stories enso aba who should stand up for Thiago Silva? Who should stand up for Thiago Silva? Why? And I will say, oh sorry, na ma Thiago Silva so akunya but picture we also puyo ni faswa akunya bisu so one man kan ya betena so ba mo se masa ye pa akunya betena so atwetwe no ho enye de ase wakoba na bia pub na akotena so bia ni anti when also atena because unuya wo pure company village and a Chiellini nom to one also sorry about why Silva atena
Giorgio Chiellini
hey
se football ne dia brabo na ebo e dia brabo na ebo
okay
football ne dia brabo na ebo
Bonucci asabe Bonucci
na so sorry abrabo ne ebo
Bonucci sorry
na so sorry na Thiago Silva trase Puya Champions League Vidic waji Champions League Bonucci aje there
okay we ye tili Ghana for so
Bra Kwame Samuel si Puyo afa Opoku Collins company Nana Kofi Afriye Service and company Samson Ben in Fancy Sevilla and so se company afa AMG Mole say Vincent company His Excellency Nana Yaredu asi Puyo afa sorry bedi akom Diama company Godfred and some Service and company Frank Osei as a company and then sorry Bismarck I am them and so company and sorry Lewis Man I say Abrantia the D Enso Ade company and sorry I Ali Mohammed and so company Ogidi Brown as a company Aaron Aya Ochre and some I say and they okay no one should stand up for Aya Silva and on also Diaba Prince Siao as a company Alonso Junior Ekodama Vincent company Ike Nana Odum Ampol and so service and company a fair Lavos Manse company and on also Etimi Adiaba John Baidu and so service and company and on Diaba a fair Mausa Bill Ampol as a none of them okay and on also Etimi Diaba Bob Lincoln and some Adia say a company of course Capitano a boss and so say company and on Diaba a fair DC and so echo at the I say Kapepe Uma and Kapepe and also sorry
Pepe nim na Benjamin ayesapon on YouTube say I was Vincent company sorry and I say Jesus ayefosu one also say Vincent company no and also money muso ema Thiago Silva nyama bi and so adoni to AC Alahansan our YouTube say company and sorry and Victor Boateng so say Vincent company PLC company was something and so no Emmanuel Ajman do and also say company and Dinato boy so say I was a company sorry now Oma Ayabra penny and never be day to see because I want to meet now kunya so say our bra yes in your mind and so it's na ho well mama quote name right now young queen BW50 7E5 59E BW50 7E8 99E so a 10 os respectively BW50 7E6 3DD
3DD.
BW50.
BW50.
7E7.
7E7.
563.
563.
9 O's respectively. So last two, no.
Okay.
And a last code. BW50.
BW50.
7E9.
7E9.
1C8.
1C8.
Yes. See, we.
I mean, kind of.
Unton super muswe na oma ayi nso nya kama pa.
Yeah. We na kwa kan obi se ana o chacha na o ka se na nyankopon sika be no opo. On push kada.
O de se da na mo se o hen ba busa am sa question we na sofo bi frɛ me mo ne din. Na o ka che me se so onimu a se o se so ma o huni bi to chacha nya sika de tua ne ka na wunya sa we no. Bo be te di.
Kaka mo se chacha sika o munje. Okay, munje ye.
As we are professional,
Wontumi.
Police intimate.
I really wow phone so now I already man now call baby. We need no more if we na so mu nyina wo a man nyina
o mu ye ho adwuma.
And
a person be sad wo bi da. Say if you say when you fear, say baba obi oyiti or a young guy. When we say ware, when we say
na na ho bi say wo ho da bia.
First time
e bia wo na wo hu ye we ho.
Go for him.
Just say. Omo da e bia wo na wo nti bi nko.
Because so obe ware bia no agya tie ni. Ah? So minitire.
Me ha.
Minitire.
Mo power e ba ko nsantwefo.
Hey.
Ons mo ka ho.
Da bia pe. Ye ware onipa dodo ma.
Ze woni kapo. Ya be chance ya timo sika no from source.
Say
Ni aya kwa engagement.
Na
Ni asande wedding na so amamo. Sa na wo se ye.
na say wo
na say jamu amonye.
When your oba ni bia na.
Nti no dey here.
De o ka so be timi sika to wo dia akohwe ni. Akoye no ade when
Na dey a wo ko ho na so no ba no we ho.
Obi ama me ho mi nko obi a ho.
Sa tifi ne ko nkran bi.
Oh David o dey mi nko okra.
Oge chi wa sumo o si fi ne ko nkran bi. Obekwa ji se December me boa.
Okay ti kra.
Ko dey na se o sika na hye o.
Ti say no executive producer who can executive producer male.
Ye nko ne yemre so no meka baba fo asem. Ana wa kan baba fo asem mo na obeka.
Nti maka bab nti no kwase ma meka nti na isi amada no tamfi.
There say chiro kwan pa na wo zo fa so.
Wontumi.
Awale ade.
Wo. Ana ebu ade na ma se so.
Ebu ade we pa anopa ade wo de mesrew.
Wo. Sharak mami ebu on ne bano sign contract e de ma Chelsea na e ba so say ono kra no wante ho mpopre wante ho hwe ana oba no kra no ansa mona mane se bia ne bad boy sign e de ama Chelsea from Matis ebue na for years any for be 5 years any ne bad boy no ntimi ne kra nkasa akwara ne bo e de ma Chelsea junior team ono na hye 10 Matis ebue Emmanuel ebue ono ane bema mu enso ba nanso emse ne akwara ne sane ma Chelsea kra no o ma no kra nte kra na obesa nko boa ne ba no because one wa bobo na de adru akire e wo sanke bia bana experience one boa ne ba but emse obi anum sare awade ne sikoi e wo shuke monte so no da bia wa ye busy o fu so yo ba won wo ana wo mama mu miensa ntini kwan se wode bi BSO ebuo se wono odo a wo do fi na komam ana chese o do ban panchi sikasem ebia document edema cars document edema chese fie when you 3 houses our London and there's so many cars ni nyina no am say wahwene ni nyina na Matis dia no and chana war and yapa yentie buoi kakrai na yankomra.
I put my heart
And also, I mean, there are kids involved, children. I know your son recently signed for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's massive Matis, and he looks like he's going to be some player.
Yeah.
So, but how did that make you feel seeing that?
You know, first things, you know, I feel very sad because when I signed for Chelsea, I wasn't there. So my mom didn't call me also, so I didn't even know. You know, because before I was talking with him, you know, before. But it was but now since for nearly 5 years, I didn't even have any contact with him. you know. So these things, when I'm talking about that, it's paining me a lot, you know, because he's my son. And then, when I was with him, I teach him also how to play football.
Yeah.
And then I have some video from him and me when we were playing, you know. So now I'm very happy. To be honest, I'm very happy for him, you know. I didn't even think that he will be there, but now I'm very happy for him. But inside in my body, I'm crying because I want to be closer to my son to help him. Yeah.
And
fancy.
Chairman, fancy you're stubborn.
Oh, sponsor there. No one fancy.
Chairman.
Fancy, you're strong.
Oh, you're dancing so. You're but in time we share because now what's your night chikakra?
Abada bi amhwemo. Adwuma ne koso. Some share a year sports I Ghana there. I can confidently confirm. Say a year Wontumi sports no. I don't know number one. Just say
so esitia said we am kwada courage aye picture said yo be mai wanyini ni mu atwe wo ba no just say de ha no cry e mam ye no wo mo a just say mam mayom ye no wanya wu said yan kwada no cry no wo mo som alavu city e wa bra nyina no aye just say nkoma ebue ensom adinti yenti ebue e wa bra ne sharu akama me ba kono nkan wona yensentie e wa bra no aye busuasam ana just wo de ba do ba so kan nyina nsa until now no man one more send picture yentia a boy.
It's my prayer every day. I pray for my kids because even my two girls also is very long time I didn't see them, you know. I don't want to go to England because I don't want to go to England and then I'm not gonna see them, you know. So I prefer to stay in my country, but I always pray for them. I pray, I say, God, please, one day I want to see my kids. It's not only my son, but all of them. Because I have a big girl, so I want to see them because they miss me. Even, as I told you, until now, I don't have any recent picture. The picture that I have is the old one, when they were a kids, you know. So even when I ask some pictures, the new pictures from the mom, she refused to, you know, she refused to give it to me, you know. It's always
I can't free now. Swear the banana pay life for a show no so a no. I by popular request and answer me a call. I just a sponsor bite and for anymore. Ya kwakoi a jaba no mum yan jumadi a sponsor. I buffet now just a boy a brabo koboya and some our land to the drubabina walk a yomo bo a right back. I want the first so one more just a monobo sony and that's an vengano. Not just a bro so ya juma panting koma. What do you brown one yamma and a yamma crema one whom kwada one ya bonny be a fear me and someone lantern emu cars and sika and just a new man for years and ye I just a new no and kwada one can be on budget and any answer no and ya see a man crying emma just one no and some kwadana ya be here foot and the akana just an openo ya room and some of foreign tia kasai a ball I 7 o'clock and ana juya and a Real Madrid and some and Real Betis came no and some other Masorafina, woman so other matchy at Jamano, your phone Cesar Soto Grado. Now, no, and a Quakurisa gamer, a boy, I 7 o'clock, and a Madrid, came no, and some other Cosana. Either Serbia Madrid, Colosi, a 9 points gap, I'm a bar, a 6, and I Serbia Madrid, a draw, and I said Madrid, a Belusi, a Wano, Yamonitara Series, I came no, and some other Selko Shadrach, Mamma Madrid, Timna Yaba Studios, no, not just a boy. Afro Timbasa, woman Alco Airport, Omunie, woman am Cramus Alco Airport, I fly. Not just somebody I call Seville, and I came against Real Betis, and on some other bus or Chakia from Madrid, Alco Seville, I'm a flight, watch a crowd, a 1 hour 10 minutes, not just 1 hour 10 minutes, not just a Madrid, a Drew, Omudra, woman Abaco, Tonafe, woman some aqua relaxe, I kakra sɛ be a anwumre omomache no ɛno nso ababa so amatim no wɔn nso abasa game no kema na squad wɔn de kɔɛ no hyɛro ka project ayɛ squad no so de amawa wɔn nso projection e ba nei wonim sa manager no wanfa dan se bios enti anka squad no ho report on me nsa kan say wɔ say ayɛ by technical decision na chesa ɔno coach no wɔn anim ne ntia wanfa dan se bios anka ho ebiem ensom ayɛ player yɛ fam sɛ Shuameni ɔno ensom ayɛ out of our squad wɔn nso ade kwa we na Shuameni deɛ no manager no ba so chesa ayɛ overload na chesa wa bobɔ na wa bra sɛ minute awɔ no dos 1 minute a ɛbɛtru baabi ebia Shuameni ɛbɛkɔ akɔpra enti awɔso mo no ensom arrested na chesa na dwi wɔn ma tene Shuameni ayɛ out ebiem no medical bi ato onim sa akoda na mfa no sa Navarro ɔno ayɛ goalkeeper Real Madrid under 19 ɔno na nanu ya no wɔne nkoda no ɛkɔgye ayɛ Champions League under 19 ya no depa na ɔgye the next day wɔn bɔ game ɔmo ma no betena bench ɛnɛ wɔn sa de na ka ayɛ squad no to sa wo hwa wɔn so squad no mu a na kyesa goalkeeper no ayɛ Andre Lonin and wɔche wɔn afa goalkeeper yɛ fan sa Sergio Mestre and afa akoda no a yɛ fan sa Javi Navarro wɔn so awɔ sa squad no mu a ɛno ayɛ kyesa akoda no so ɛsɛnya not ɛbɛka wɔ abra no pɛ no yɛre update no nyinaa no ɛnsom ama yɛ tefoɔ ɛnsom awɔ hwɛ no so na ɛnam acha ɛno ɛba so ayɛ game number 100 ɛnso ɛdema Kylian Mbappe wɔbi anom sɛ Mbappe numbers ano wɔhyɛ pa ɔba yɛ ɛm sɛ 99 matches a wɔnya bɛyɛ 82 goals ɛne assist wɔtwam ɛm sɛ bɛyɛ 23 ne ade no nyinaa no ɛnɛ ana Mbappe ɛbɔ ne game number 100 ɛnso ɛde asɔso no nyinaa akyi no ɛm sɛ caution ɛda ho na gyintia me sɛ caution ɛda ho no sɛ kɔbɛsa na dream player yɛfa no sɛ Mbappe enya yellow card na just automatically ɔmo game ɛno nso abɛkɔ so wɔn ne Espanyol enya deɛ sɛ saa game no wɔn nso abɛbɔ ɛwɔ awɛntini kwan sa na dwi Mbappe ekɔdi ayɛ yellow card a wɔsɛ bɔn no ɛnso atrɔde cautiously ebiem wɔkan so ɔwura fa no sɛ Benzema wɔn nso ba Madrid akɔ ɛyɛ Madrid na ma ɛyɛ Karim Benzema gye ɛyɛ Ballon d'Or na Benzema de nkɔmɔ no pii difa ɛyɛ team ne ho Ronaldo dono mo tucha ade ma omu nyina ne yade baba bia na emsam kachi ye pa no ensom ade se wo mu busa Karim Benzema se na sa otonani ehwa Madrid omu tim na edien pa na ayira edien na ani ho anu se bibia bi wo ho na jinja man kasa ne nyina no se wo hwa eye players nei wo mu som aw Madrid wo som wo betimi ahye team bia wa asasi so na on paper wo hwa Madrid omu squad na wɔn yɛ unbeatable na mom wɔn rap pitch no so hɔ ana ya na kyesa asɛm no so akɔkɔba no na deɛ bɛso wɔka no nyina no sɛ players no nyina ɛtena se na wɔn agye ato mu sɛ ɛwɔ so wɔn te aseɛ sɛ ebia Arnold ɛbɛhia kyesa Trent anaasɛ Arnold no wɔbɛhia ebia Heisen ana amana shine ebia Dean Heisen ɛbɛhia Shuameni na amana shine Mbappe ɛbɛhia Vini na amana shine and the vice versa ebia woyɛ Juda wohia ɛyɛ Valverde na ma also motomponom ashine na so bi ati asɛ sɛ wɔyonko enka ho a muntimi nya dwuma no ema no nya yenko ade a ɛne Madrid ɛbɛpagya pa na mo the moment abakofa bɛn ne ho sɛ menko ade me pesa menkumnya me na sima bɛti so me ni ho a egu me wɔ mu a ɛna hyama de a ɛne esi ya na bɛto ɛyɛ Madrid no mutim ne san so mo time no wɔnom ati asɛ sɛ without Ronaldo ɔno Karim Benzema wontimi shine emanye yetina munyuntum na momfa ho sɛ wobia hia ne yonko ansana ama club no so nneɛma mo yɛ no mudwumadi a mudiri nyinaa no nneɛma nso atimi akɔkama na mebɛka ne na bi atwam sɛ akɔra ne mfa no sɛ Michael Olise a wɔbɔ no ball enso adama Valverde of Bamunche no Madrid abɛka so mo pɛ na Michael Olise na meka sɛ Bamunche dia okwa ebia batimi aka player bia ne mom sɛ bia Harry Kane nom ene Luis Diaz nom ene Luis Amudia wo de wa agro ensom akosafo no so a wo mo bama waso aye hyepa nana yese bi mo de basa Madrid for no say wo mo no am I ready sir wo mo betimi spend around 175 million euros enom aye Michael Olise dia na Florentino Perez no wa wi ataso sanse the first one de ho mera pa ba bia wo mo kofa Franco Mastantuono at the bas wo mo bo ba bia Rodrigo etagina na ho no emsem ho mera pa enti 175 million no yenim sebia bi ebe upfront na bia bi aye based on ebia bonuses so wo bani ye Champions League oba ni ye La Liga oba no be Ballon d'Or and e be betimi ama amount ana sebia chesabo no ehuri akwakodru 175 million emse na no ya so ball obari ti atim no akonvense amperfano say akwada no any born ball and about say be a big night where you meant for the big night and omani apropos akwada no wo some abaso mo tenepa and no aye update free aye Los Blancos amaso ye and some other banana peno I was sure us all say Vinicius a contract no abaso sign no ebese na omunyan can see na ebimo ensom ade update ba say Vinicius and Madrid omanya agree mesra German kan sesia no sanya no kra agreement be anywhere and also across between Madrid and the player your father say Vini omanya agree na mom enkomo de and also agusu akoso na yaba studios na Atletico Madrid aye club wo so training session no and no ashase ma update once again Ademola Lookman aye out Yosema Jimenez aye out omumi no nyina no woman timi antrani anopai Alexander Soloff once again one training with the group and David Hansko ono and some training with the group na chesano aye some dama club ya fan sa Atletico ama chesano peno ya update no nyina topa won kai say ya bekana na no sa Leo Messi ababe ona and some adiama koneya na koneya club amebeka chawo sa akola ketu ba kubi kwadu wasera Messi ababe ona chesamo mutikura bom one de na desre dia aye ba ko pen say omo preach no emusa Leo Messi miem akola no yobeka ya be store ne dada but anopai German say kan nyina no say na and you say officially ababe ye confirmed say owe fan say aye Leo Messi some ababe ye majority shareholder and German koneya wo mutum no na German say kan say wo submit and your man last Monday enwa anyumre aye ya wada ensom anyumre na omo say wo stamp so achese bas ukos Spain wo sports council and so enya the approval and ya Leo Messi international kasa fei ana denom ababe official say Leo Messi ekita 85% stake and some our koneya one edi ababe majority shareholder so adama club no mamia no play Lamine Yamal wababe drew aye Barcelona omo offices and boy start rehabilitation no make a try was a conservative treatment and a player your friend say Lamine Yamal ebeso ye enti akura ni oba wo hwe nim our front wa wotum say akura na ehane pa na sena mekan eno anu nioma ha ama chesa akura no di wo ya present wano som akwakopra na no pay so nya moment and some enjoy ntwumadi a your friend say Wontumi sports biter me the update ni nyina ma Dr. Paul afutuo our de base edru say na injury die chiri kura ayesa watena fie 1 month until pain enti na ho ye chinchina unfamable ball bema wasem adeba ko eye injury ne temfo ne enemy kase ayesem obe wa dresa ho ato ti mamoma akwara no mo eye group stages our World Cup Lamine Yamal baba mama no from knockout elko ena update amenya no say Federation no say the Spanish Football Federation Royal woman dia bana dia almost can say woman ya die pass na boy no and some ankwankwa surgery na omo medical checks almost say na nkebetimi aye worse e dey free betimi aye worse ache enwa dia no ensom abaye na dia almost over gidie say 10 na yɛsɛ Lamine Yamal anya no wɔn se 10 no ɛnyɛ kɛse bia saa ɛyɛ small tɛ ana boy no ɛnyɛ nti wɔn de wɔn wɔ gyiri sa World Cup no Lamine Yamal ɛbɛgyina mpampe ti World Cup Lamine Yamal bɛbɔ ana Dr. Ripo ɛnso asan bɛbi ɔse mamu nyama dwensa boy no ɛbɛyɛ 100% fit for World Cup na jobo so kan nyina no sɛ still na no wɔgyiri pasa mo first game no akwadaa no ɔntimi mobio tom ɛne sɛ Lamine Yamal mo group stages a World Cup no mo ntimi nkwa na akyɛ mo bayɛ na afei ade aba bɛfunyan na kɔfa sema ba mo nya butiro aba kyɛ sɛ Dr. Asaba bia mu a wɔro som ari afutuo yi ɛnsom abana jameme sɛ kan sɛ Marcus Rashford amsa gentia Manchester fanam sɛ wɔn demande ane diama Barcelona wɔn som atwentwa mo na ase kakra ɛne sɛ insiders at the Barcelona Bona Rashford a boy against Atletico Madrid no yɛsɛ ɛyɛ coach Hans Flick nani anjo bako kra because we be a Champions League as a bouncer etimi Atletico sinchi kana yɛ kasai wɔn nkɔmɔ bɔ ɛyɛ semi final against Arsenal na Rashford pa robobia according to inside almost a boy na no ana ma coach no wɔn convinced sɛ bi akɔda no ensom ebetumi ayɛ adwuma ɔpɛ ensom adiamatu no minim sɛ bi awɔyi so ayɛ strategy ɔmbɛsɛ ɛmama yufo teboɔ no so di abatanai wɔn ba so mo kyɛsɛ motompo no anso ɛyɛ coach nani na aka krane awie season no Manchester kan nyina de me sɛ kan sɛ bonsa coach no sɛ wɔn paso obete ana transfer market no ana player way never ana when am okoto ana woyo ɔmba so obete bi biafa ɛyɛ transfers ɛho ɛna yɛ kasa na manager no nso kuma wɔdene nyina no yɛso ɔbɛ so wɔdene full focus ɛkɔ ɛyɛ remaining matches no so wɔn matches aka ho ana wɔ shifting attention anyina de akɔ the moment a obabiam abɛsɛ bia o ɛna bia way ba way kɔ ne adene nyina no ɛbɛyi wɔ attention ɛde free matches no so wɔn nso mmɔda sɛ wɔn concentrate na afei wɔn nso abɔ ɛyɛ nneɛma no yie sɛ bɛ a wɔn nso ɛbɛtumi agye trophy no ɛde asi wɔn naso na no pay yɛte ɛwɔ Germany ɛsɛ goalkeeper Manuel Neuer no ɛnso agree 1-year contract until 2027 ɔno ɛne bamunkyen ɛnso ɛna awie na German second no pay no say no ya deɛ no wɔn ka sɛ an next season ɔno ɛne Jonas Elbig ɔmo na bɛkyɛ abɔ na yɛaka mu na te ase but ɛna no pay wɔn bɛtena sɛ manager fan sɛ Vincent Company ɛba ne press conference ɛba so a wɔn nso ɔmo ɔbɛtena sɛ bia na sporting director no ɛnso ɛka ho na Christoph Freund ɛna wɔn busa no sɛ yɛse no ya nya agree 1-year contract renewal until 2027 na ɛno kra wɔpɛne ne ɛna Christoph Freund ɛsɛ ɛnyɛ no korɛ na mote asɛm no afiri he nkɔmmɔ no deɛ wɔm gu so mu di nkɔmmɔ but ɔnim baabi a momunya saa news no ɛde firiɛ sɛ bia Neuer ɛne Bayern agree 1-year contract dabi na yɛwɔ da so ɛwɔ middle of April deɛ ɔbɛ so ɔka no nyina no sɛ ɛmsɛ nkɔmmɔ no ɔmonya nte ne nka nti so ɔmote ne nka a wɔm bɛka ɛma wiase nyinaa no ɛnso ahontenya no korɛ da sɛ bia nɛ ɔmo ne ma no Neuer ɛnso agree ayɛ 1-year contract ebiem manager fan say company say oka ama mo amutie ne mo amohwe mo nyina mate ase say mo amosori a ai ana yese omo outside aye Germany feel say Bundesliga na F4 ema ben na nka ben betumi akọ season be 10 na da bia wo G League na omo giri e pass F4 eno tina da bia no ben be dia wo mo je e wa bra season e kra no aka matches ni bi yenya nwie na ehonom amadia mensa kan say owura fere say company say anya no credit say Bundesliga na easy wo abeka say be easy bia enra say wo hwe DSV Pokal Stuttgart ewo fie wo no Freiburg ana wo hwe sa match ne bia 119th minute our extra time Barca Stuttgart omo dey qualify and ya ba aya final our Berlin eno kwa kire wo say ball na omo ba our Germany no anya fo na di ntia mama fo bi fu say bia Premier League and mu odin ensom ade say Premier League for no kwana still now no womu players womu ko aye bonus league animo na oma kwa kofa aye players e dey free ho na no ya Florian Vet na no ya Jeremy Frimpong na no ya Ekitike womu nyina akọ erisanke mu ofo a ene yesanko mo ankasa betimi e develop mo de anti eno kira wo say bonus league no talent ewom ana enche bia the next generation no womu so adamani o man so akọ kama ana manager no say you want to just say omo game omo ne mines no phone ebobo ni nyina no we dey say ni kwansa wo twan emobi catch no aye dan rotation abaya juma wasem a gamer wo mo pa 3 points ade yeso mo na so bat ni nyina no wo ba rotate ama said be a wo betimi manage aya chese game time wo mo ntanya bi mo wo mo here rest any ade ni nyina no according to aya company na say nyame ya mo chena wonom abesesa ne omam entimu a mo be ko buying a game ya no my careful say bi apekra jana ho because coach they say obesesa ne omam e wa ba no ensom aya kakra free manager na at the Bernardo Peno and some our show so Liverpool coach and your reference and a slot and a pay where we are kind of a prosa na manager no or say when we go to Georgie Mamardashvili and you'll be out Alison Becker and some aye close so about return no no waba me say aye Crystal Palace game and TS ye goalkeeper na ye follow Freddie Woodman ono ana nyame yarma game against aye Crystal Palace no one some abada post no adiama club ye follow say Liverpool yentie and come manager die and some other goalkeeper no sense what do you about some boy no or your good boy pa na oba aye local room will be up and answer because no tanya bi nakra won kasa won kojina ba bi nkodi konkonsa ana ai no bone hene menya bi dabi boy na anya sane o bi da enti na amo bi up na some the time any enti won na be sa dam nyame ya adoma game against aye Crystal Palace yentie and a slot coach akasa.
No, I think for a reason we've signed an experienced third goalkeeper. Usually you don't need him that much, but there could be situations if one is injured and the other one gets a suspension. That makes usually more sense than expecting 2 goalkeepers to be injured. Then it's needed to have a third goalkeeper with experience, and that's why we were happy that we could pick him up on a free transfer this summer. Apart from him being a good goalkeeper, which he's shown, I think when he was young, he won the Euros with the under-17s, and I think with the under-20s, he won the World Cup. And then he made himself a career at Newcastle, at Preston North End, and has the experience to play even at Premier League, but definitely at Championship level. And apart from that, he's a very good man, and he's very liked in the dressing room, and I think that's also a role that's important for the third goalkeeper. If he's not playing, if he's playing, is more important that he has a good performance than that his teammates like him, and that's why I think he's ready for it, but it would always be helpful if the fans are there to support him tomorrow. No, I think for a reason.
Manager Fantasy and a slow turn out to say, you didn't accept Emma and pay live when the show stone out of Liverpool. Yet I saw them now. Manager didn't come on or say, you want to just when you plan for next season, Anthony, you catch us a serious secret. You be also trust manager Fantasy and a slot. Only be our call manager. No, ever stay now in Yamiya next season. Of course, why you're Jumano. I don't know the plans for next season at the same coach and say for now the focus our matches I can so na sebi owo either some I for the short term and I say I for the mid to long term on personal commentary I found now say I Palace a game and attention I was so and now what we say yatiti tibia so goalkeeper Alison Becker obetena yes take omo pano and Juventus be cross we call of free Liverpool kona no cry and was say na man for Becker so no cry to we yebe pamono what aso to entiana transfers and links and sa rumors and sa your money nyina no ya no for attention and cry na Jamaican can say didn't you Liverpool ekofa akotana you for Florian Vet and some agona buy and so no ebebo number 10 na number 10 word me to say nyame ya ma hwese sa entimu amo say ano ba wa hunso ntemo nsesa no na bia mo nya bia bibifu fa na akwada no nyame ya ma na season no as part of nkoma wɔn nso edi HSS still now no number 10 row ɔno nso bɛkɔ so abɔ na Newcastle ɔmo team no wɔn bɔ Arsenal nyame yɛ mo ɔkyena update ɛnie Anthony Gordon ɔno ayɛ out sɛnɛ meka ne no asɛ wɔbɛtumi ayɛ ne yɛ ka ne sɛ doubtful no boy no ɛnso ayɛ out a wɔntumi mo ebiem ayɛ Tino Livramento wɔn nso awɔ thigh injury ɔno ɛnso ayɛ out into 2 players wey wɔn mo saa match no bi ɛnkyɛ Arsenal good news ɛne sɛ Bruno Guimaraes ɛturo ne yie week mu no nyinaa ɔmo so wɔturo ne kama paa enti ɛkyɛ so ɔkyena according to manager fɛn sɛ di how no ebi a Bruno Guimaraes ɛyɛ obi ɔno ɛnso ɛbɛtumi abɔ ɛyɛ saa match no ɛnso ɛde ama Newcastle against Arsenal asɛm a yɛkan no yɛtwɛn sɛ manager fɛn sɛ Arteta ɛna awie no press conference ɛbɛba so Arteta awie presser ɛne yɛbɛhu sɛ bia nya bia no City wɔn aba bɛyi ne wɔn ayɛ pɛ wɔn City ɛna di kan ɛde ayɛmhyehyɛ bi ɛba anaasɛ still he's on fire question ɛbɛba Bukayo Saka ɛbɛyɛ available anaasɛ ɔnyɛ available ɛno nso ɔmabusa yɛate sɛ bia Arda Güler ɛdeɛ no mani abrɛ because mate sɛ Liverpool awuram ɛno nso ɛbɛba ɛne kyɛsɛ plans ɛde ma Arsenal ɔmo team no build up to ɔmo Champions League game ne ade no nyinaa no ɛnso ayɛ nkɔmɔ a yɛtwɛn sɛ manager no ɛbrɛ no so na no press conference ɛba so asɛntwerɛfoɔ no ɛnso ɛbɛbusa ama ɔpani ɛde kakra de ato dwa ne nyinaa no bɛkɔ so ɛwɔ soba reality training center ɛhɔ ana saa nkɔmɔ no nyinaa no ɛno nso abɛyɛ adwuma yɛkan na kyɛsɛ Chelsea wɔn interim coach for the second time ɛyɛ Callum McFarlane ɔpani no 1:30 awia yi ɛno no nso bɛyɛ no press conference menim sɛ ɛyɛ deɛ ɔbɛbusa about Rosinia ɛyɛ deɛ ɔbɛbusa Chelsea wɔn chances sɛ bi a Champions League gɔmbɛ qualify anya bia no ɛwɔ hɔ anaasɛ chances ɛyɛ bleak ne nyinaa no ɛyɛ adeɛ sɛ Callum McFarlane ɔno ɛnso ɛbɛansa questions awodoɔ a ɛno nso ɛbɛba na report a menya no sɛ coach no a yɛfɛ no Enzo Maresca ɔnsɛ Maresca no yɛka no dada sɛ wɔnom ana kyɛsɛ kɔbɛsɛ bi a Pep ɛkɔ a wɔbɛyɛ replacement ɛde ama Pep ɛno nti na mo na wɔgyeriɛ sɛ wɔgyae Chelsea adwuma no ntɛntɛntɛntɛntɛntɛntɛm na diama de na kwakwa hu ene sɛ ebi mu ɛwɔ gyiriye sɛ bi a Pep Guardiola wɔgye Premier League no wanye obi mu susu sɛ bia na Pep ɛde adwuma no si at the end of the season onto asubiem ebi nso ɛwɔ gyiriye sɛ ɛmfa ɛne de ɛbɛsi manager fa ne sɛ Pep no one kokra de nyame yɛ adama next season wɔbɛsɛ de asoso nti enim sɛ de ɛbɛsi akɔ bat ɔma fa kyire ɛne Enzo Maresca akasa wɔma di nkɔmɔ ɔmo gyiriye ba so no enso ayɛ student ɛde ma Pep no nko ade wɔbɛtumi ayɛ adwuma no wɔbɛtoa so ama City born ayɛ kama City born bɛ for titles ɛne ade ɛno nso abebantoa no ɛna ɔmo kɔsra no na de ɛwɔ wɔn sɛ wokɔ Italy hɔ a wɔn sɛ according to La Gazzetta dello Sport yɛsɛ wɔn bɛ so ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ Pep Guardiola bia Italy wɔn coaching job no wɔn de ma na ɔbɛyɛ sɛbia Italy wɔn national team wɔn de ma ɔno Pep Guardiola wɔn nso bɛyɛ batɛne no mo na ɔgyiri sɛ Pep paa deɛ sɛ Italy adwuma deɛ ɛnsi ɛnyɛ adeɛ so no ɛbɛte ase aba nti ɛno yɛ sɛ Italy for no wɔn nso agusu dreamy onim sa wɔn headlines wɔn so ewi ase deɛ yɛ na yɛ sɛ ɔbɛ dreamy because obi a ɔno ne suade obi a ɔno akoma suadeɛ obi a ɔno diet so ntiɛ so ɔbɛ dreamy sanka mo benya nanka Pep ɛna coach Assurance of Italy mebɛka kyerɛ sɛ Claudio Ranieri ɛne ɛyɛ Gianluca owura fa no sɛ Jean Pierre Gasparini wɔn te adwangoma so wɔn yɛ akɛntɛ ɔsɛ akoko ene aye Friday ena make say Claudio Ranieri anankono serve to say bia technical director bi no wo mo jane kwan wokọ ama Jean Pierre Gasparini coach no ebekọ so aye adwuma esasa public aye fallout omunyaye no wo ma nya ready sampan for me no besiesie wo ma sam entian okọ na demensa kan say lawyers adama both parties wo mugu so edu komoni ya unsa the separation no eno so ebesi akọ okoi enya Ranieri enko a report amensa kan so ru na ye fa Frederick Masara obeye adwuma edema Milan ebeto so ema Roma no report amenya no so pani emfa no so Masara no so aye sporting director wono so omeja no kwan omepam no onto so nya adwuma no bim enu nti no ayare so Francesco Totti Totti mabeka choda da say obeba Roma back na Totti ba mo say initially die we be kan ba ye adwuma as AB ambassador na just wo take ambassadorial role ni wi a won nyini e wa adwuma ni mo no na oba ba ye AB operation adwuma te say die AB dekonom eye de ma basa no watena bi onyini wa adwuma ni mo a na ne Totti nso ababa occupy aye sa position at the club na no enso aye kakre free wama so de ba na no pay Sheikh Nasser Al Khelaifi asema wakoka wo bia ni ajepa yese Nasser Al Khelaifi say woka the greatest success awanya awono ne career mu since our years we be football ama Qatari Sports Investment wo mu de wo sika abesha PSG mu a the greatest success awanya aye Luis Enrique enya Mbappe nom enya Messi nom enya Neymar nom enya Cavani ni Ibrahimovic mu a wo mu nyina ba ba bie ekọ na ena manager ne bae no enyoma nyina sesa enyoma dane foforo wo bia boma baso ne Paris Saint-Germain ba ya kono o ho player we minya PSG amebo na so nka enkane no ye katro bi se bia Paris Saint-Germain epe no a no nipa na atwetwe no batana PSG aba ba ya attractive ama mo na no wo mo so anya club na ombebo ntene o tiri ba se coach ni mom ana o sesa abasobo no nyina na ko enso adema no yentie anasem enya na fe first na yama crime aye diakan nyina no so meto aso still live on Wontumi aye sports buffet anopay yento aso we
dey we pa anopay dey odem srew
Sharak mami ebu on the bano signing contract ediama na obesan ko boa ne ba because one wa bobo na dey adruache e wosan ke bia banner experience one boa ne ba but em say obi anum say ya wade ni sikoi e wo shuke monte so no dabia wa ye busy ofu so yo ba won wo ana wo mama mu miensantini kwan say wade bibia sio ebu say ono odo a wo do fi na komam ana chese wo do ban panchi sikasem ebia document edema cars document edema chese fie wonya 3 houses our London and so many cars ni nyina no am say wahwene ni nyina na mates dia no and chana war and yapa yentie buoi kakrai na yankomra.
I put my heart
and also I mean there are kids involved, children. I know your son recently signed for Chelsea. Yeah. Congratulations. That's massive matters, and he looks like he's going to be some player.
Yeah.
So, but how did that make you feel seeing that?
You know, first things, you know, I feel very sad because when I signed for Chelsea, I wasn't there. So my mom didn't call me also, so I didn't even know. You know, because before I was talking with him, you know, before. But it was but now since for nearly 5 years, I didn't even have any contact with him. You know, so these things when I'm talking about that, it's paining me a lot. You know, because he's my son, and then when I was with him, I teach him also how to play football.
Yeah.
And then I have some video from him and me when you were playing, you know. So now I'm very happy. To be honest, I'm very happy for him, you know. I didn't even think that he will be there, but now I'm very happy for him.
Because Bema Baye Juma, some of the FIFA players, you know, more than title because Obi on Mobeka Sana and 2 Nimdende. Wo bobo ebia weekend area wabre ukodrufia wo reste ade chen a wo sen tuka wo ko train na bia recovery wo prepare mo ko Champions League mu tu kwan ti mo na no bo kwa ne sikas no no kwa na hweso obo kwa account no kwa na scan betum no kwa na agent de to wo so bobo na yo some agent dim sika ne ade anti omo nhye na nya time nye sane man nti na boys ne bi mo ya no mo do mo maame sa Ashraf Hakimi mo ono maame no bibia on ne din mu. You understand? Into wunu ya de no be so che so oba na de say oba me no tiam no wa wo mame ensa de onwene se dabi ebi oba na be na manti no 3 houses e wo London no so cars bebre p ni nara ni sikanyi na oba na hweso na de ya cry boy na oba sign mates ebue ono ane ba wa sign ya match so 10 JC akura no ko sign nke fese papa ne gina ha no mo twa picture batane oni mfonyin ni mu ache say hapa me say ana bibia find here
ya bibia boko
new
yo
say won so ho ye
me ho ye na ha say
o say
e ha say
didn't
na ha me o say hapa nam say ha say
because me tie fu we na wie ahomache no na me ye ho adwuma no na baby wo say odanyame ase say otiase oso odanyame ase so otiase cause baby ekodru ye no osanko ending nyina quick tinka bana nko nte ho no mo ye interview ni mpo
live stories uti ebi mo dia ho say obaka say e yare ho but live the tell say ya the stories na wonti ye ni bi yare ho sen de wate ni bi
true
so akwese sa na life no atie e gina kira sisi ebe room no Ernest ebonyum say yes akonwa enye obi ade a na say Lord busa na say na da nyum say no obo no fie da na say manembo sa na koma ehwehwe be mana I come hwe asem na to Pep Guardiola no if we ever admit say he's in contention for the premiership once again with arguably one of his weakest sides our building as a manager after winning close to 40 trophies mid-season he loses his best player to injury systematically I say bibia then domestically the wife so afraid to say ke yentwa bibia so then Pep is out of his senses everything Pep ni control him but how did he come back to compete again? This is when you marry professionalism and then family issues or family challenges. Pep wife when I say unya time man unya time say ka ka so analyze obi family issue ka say obi onu wa akra ba ko panimu lady ba ko anyini na do unya time man through this ages nyina lady ba ko anyini another lady bi so sa ho boy ba ko so other Pep e man no peg all of that but the wife when say unya time mami before a woman comes out to talk unim dey why see before a woman comes out to say the grievances no unim dey asha no so but Pep Ubia who say Adem no all of a sudden was also about back on Mikel Arteta air press no with arguably one of the weakest sides.
Yeah.
Catch on ra say level your way or challenges be brave but you be dream so be drew. You be pie ba wobo. Esoro no so a person okono there's another challenge or Yakobo yini mi enu kiro say ya ba bia woni wanim ho no so we na abebo atransa na wakwa kodru ha ya de na we ka kire Yakobo so ebu issue no de me ka say me ka me de ase bia atiefo so benya ayi bia mame sympathy bia mame what ase but bia me ka say sere se me man na badwuma ohun mo apart from mame no mo namba bia omo mfie say so family issues there, I'm not sympathizing with the way Obia on it. It is one of the life somethings at all. Then Yankopon Boa what me about Ranauko. A boy situation, a very, very pathetic. But me, no, I'm naturally not a nostalgic person, so I'm not stuck to the past. A negative, a positive, I hold on to it. Now my head in Yankopon Baba Minister. A boy dear pathetic, but what can we say? Uni Muma uni mu ma ho yawo fo akoma ma obae me de betima ka kiro no fo akoma ma oba
o se fo akoma ma obae na so pa
majama o ma twa so me kwai me sports na de oni bu no yayi fo akoma ma oba trofea yi on
Wontumi
nim do mba yawo cruise
I want to be tattoo ne de din ato no
me say onye tattoo tu no moto mu onye bi tu na ha onye bi tu na ha ya me any stories no ali onkrofo de be ye no aya adama ye something etwaso ba obedi ebu ehu areho onyino ho ya yeko
Sofitel or Abidjan. Now he did not look the same to me again.
Oh wabro
you see Sofitel no I think it was no more year calf launching of the All African Games footballing part no more year draw no. Ubisa say win a ball Arsenal no. Ono kwa to meet na baby say dinya be 10 minutes o. Na so was sorry. Putupru. No akodi nkomo kakra. No asaba. It got to a time even journalists wanted to interview him, or the Abufuka Chom said no. Like somebody that frustration has drawn all over his face. A draw. And I think the Ivorian football authorities are trying to get him closer to them. Omo ye no mama beno because could have me and Sunday frustrating. Kwaku atamokra na etwa 5 million for markets kan wa ma na wu. Ai new utwa 5 million for case kan wa ma na wu. Na de ore na wo 3
Akwano man iri 2. Akwano man iri 2.
Boys so make sound.
We see etwa case ka 5 million de bia no ma na wu.
Boys no come to 500 cedis.
Oh ya wan ka che.
Lord fair. Boys no
5 million.
Ya na set no tua bro.
Oh. Boys tua bro.
Lord fair.
Oh yaw.
I don't kopaga.
Oso 5.
You see? Yaw. Emema nyame.
Mese boys.
Oh ya meba.
Enye kroma na obi man iri 2 cedis wo nya mutuo na ne nkatenkwan. Nkatenkwan no for some namba nkatenkwan o se nkyere na ma. Wope bema ni pie koba oba na fa 2 cedis. Anya sadua no wan bo ba na ni. Wante.
Yaw.
Ne Ghana ha.
Yaw. Boys ni sre. Boys ni boas.
No mutua 500.
Mese boys, you see? Nyame said you city bomb mema ni bi no. Obi an said you city tie. Yaw. Ebinum no they are emotionally attached to a man to a certain extent to say so banning in chain for 24 hours or 48 hours na bibi ya no yaw
and then you have true na you have true
yaw ana some men no omote sa no normally no munye faithful obe move from one woman to another especially so ba no ne te no so ba no ne te no enyo bi o tai ba ho. Then he'll be moving from one lady to another lady. Sani pebisa because say abe a trait of female can huninti no. Onya freg girl na no obusa away. O se bia me wa ha.
What do he?
It was a case can cry say eba sakro musa bo no. O se ma send of 500 cedis. Fia uba. It your buy first thing first o se kwashama tade. No man a nice t-shirt kakra cash. O se damenchen ye monko. O se damenchen ye monko yawo eno nkwanko modidie na. You see for how long will you have sex with a woman? Yawo unless you are not on aphrodisiac. Ana betimi ni oba tena ni oba da over about 2 hours. Ade we ponko. Ya what they mention as no. And some of these guys maybe are not
Samson Mokranin to Moko 2 hours.
No, 2 hours. You see, so the reality of it is sometimes the comfortability ladies bring, there's no way you can take it away from a ma. A ma. Omo more certain comfort to be at. Obi catch us a man who young we are CBS in who. Oh, say, you asa wow. Omo Chenya. Especially the more your more asumdwe no I saw sure I was who here but onye na use but mo bi mi on sure na hade but obi mi na use sure no and then Friday no cry but on say e ho no wadwe be o say who here yeah ba obinya som no miem kakra
bia again em tai no drum kan kwanta obeto bofu
anasa sabi on say ugu nsuo ni wi abose na zip na ya was wa kaketrema na say sa ko ho
e fe ni wi ai twekofo
e fe ni wi a itimi ebu enkomo na wo di no yawo e fe bi no you could see the pain in his eyes especially oba on na wo miensa ne ba no suka kutani din
no pa me your story na share here quick pair boy no wo de ne ba no ni o woni kita ball na kwara na ekọ no
na ya the one thing is
so Africa boy ni de nka this stage no afre no obi di hu peche o
ni hunya
busa lami papa wa lami ya map ni papa wa me buso
no se onya adwuma bia o lami ya map papa so onya adwuma bia o boy wada no humboga
ya say ne ba do ball
Tinkono fu say at this time bi anko no ma koda no tutorials bi ni.
He's the best person to teach the man said the ball no sititie. Nowadays even former footballers are managing omuma na omuni ball no because omuni nim kwa ombefa so a ombetimi dia toto omuni omaye. But whatever that has gone on, lady na movie on fa ho. Yaw. She doesn't even you see on found I said you would drink. There was a time you know this. Oh no get here for 2 days. Give her a gab near that hey yaw and ye better. Unim the nice room. A mawa dibi about them. I say and you may not should have pushed baby. Those who are come do dream. Usun to me
can check in starter.
Oko check it. Yeah,
but I know stages. Obi odma e posuka
ya. Baba, stages. Stages.
So booking heart no Korea.
Yeah,
you will be a bonus so booking heart no.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's every single stage of a man's life where you get a broken heart. Now, me say every single stage of a man's life. Me be one more bit me catch me say. Obanye na de a aha na ama ne broken heart kakrada.
Oh yeah.
Obie no betimi.
Anya betimi anya ma.
But so onya graduate a hono na be ma ne be na so be dey ntise bi aponche no. Usi ni koto cross there be aha na ogina. So it's a life of both parties benefiting together. But when you have a lady in your life at a certain stage be a when you need a boa ma wa dream ba from say be oba oye boafo.
It depends on that lady.
And I make say be oba oye boafo.
Depends on that lady.
Oba oye ya oba oye boafo ne ho na.
Oba oye boafo de dem ba ko.
Oba oye boafo tufu say abrante menko ha mensi wo. Oba oye boafo na timi ma pon adwuma 12. Sa 12 na wa pon ne mo 12:15 na wo fie.
Konim. Messiah konim.
Oba oye boafo na bia wo pie o ti fie kra na wo pese obepie because de bia no hu na wonije na de onye boafo no about 12 obeso kofia na ju 6
kalika
obeso kofia na ju 6
wow fie so asa enkase wo ho
se odu junction ho a boafo fie na just 5 minutes
eso be si akwatra junction
so be akon wan akon fa the next day 1 hour akodi traffic no ka say so green ba be
traffic saro ani aje
but
traffic situation what time tight no na kwabrani ani age because okofia okojam
is it the other man here who say how to differentiate between the two ya kakra bi na me face you see how to differentiate between the two
not to catch you about how to differentiate man fa we mama me befi onum say me say ade ba ko a new ya na ehunu ne ye say to say be nipa no from the early stages we na for sometimes e bi mo Subani is different because a boy, the menya sure say beginning maybe or ban be man science be a chess or chenebi or be mafiano. You should understand. But obu on ma all the more na kaso when any tramp na suban kon or shana kawayo betena fi so science ben.
I mean sure new. Mama come so be dey back. O say meza dey time near dey ba me.
So the experience. Yeah, the experience.
Mama fa me yes be me ka hye ho.
Omo fa na go me fa hwan. So the experience into experience.
What you say? I did be any one of my any foundation. But sometimes foundation be a bit invincible, a bled. I did be a bled, no doesn't mean say still, but a bled near say you do money in a kakra. Be a over meeting or through attitude now, whatever be a foundation kakra. But then all the be a last and a chemistry, no an Messiah air can or some boys be that damn Sabri. Yeah, cause I David Aristo more than one or also TV dump them or I say or enjoy sports, you know. I did be an abe top on our foundation, but then it be obu any go so. But okase science in hodi ayaw. No, obua. Science ho. Bibi abe hu top be our foundation was say. But maybe sometimes we are blinded by lust and chemistry and all of that. Into own shaho.
Obi tafro baby ma Newton. You see?
Say to them say yeah say science bay. And I'm say but then obe you and you free so.
Yes.
Until later no. We so be take a little notices and son was adwuna go back and when say, "Oh, you saw this. You decided to take the risk." But look at science in here. Yeah.
Because you are enjoying internet.
Na ko pon ye wadom. Na ko hia de obema de wo be ma wo hia respect. Be ma wo ni sika respect. Be ma no honye fe o hia respect. Be ma wo nya dwuma still o hia respect. A man who sa de no mo be ye sa de ma de, but that's fine. But yeah mai opa dwumaden a ade na ate abonten kwa saa utifi a adwuma bi ye ne pie sebe why you cry obama cry mu odu a omo complain ana esuaso still complain yo
they will leave a twist they will always ask for more
ebu ade ne de ye nyina no ebi hyehyɛ ye ho a ye ba ko face yankopon ye wadom na oyi eye o say ya ho now you career now now you need you a wood ye ocean on ya Henry the boy now only my dear baby say
obi the message about ne brand no
share a boy me pese me be argument na tum but a boy on it than average be na to two dear two na some na make two pa a boy two on it than average be na to
yes
you know modern to Samuel Nkum ebuwe
Samuel Nkum na ye
a boy two na obono oh no but two no what you ya wing out just
the issue of Arsenal African fullbacks Laurent Tan and a boy
na bono osro
Laurent Tan
Mikarishas two be your boy or the this cafe where you
say ni na na ye ka no
yeah why fit yo yen kan tro mo say they are na ope e yo mbe support yes o be san ho be di animu say o be di akire no man is ready to follow but do kunya di obeka so be di wani follow no be di aya a tag of war meza to so na me di family din so
na me face enioma me ensa me meji to me say we often overlook as young men see any mercia which is say ye di adede de nachi any tafriski nachi because oba bi wo hono de ko se dem a ya de oba yewo no
em ya kwa na kan wo fre ho me ensa ma wana fi wo change documents ni dey change ownership
surprise you go on the internet and yaw oba no afato girls ne fa tontom say ya no mo the eyes a good no mo busa question say we ye de dey
tontom
say tontom sheshe no
also say the eyes are sound to
no the eyes are to him yaw wo say
no the ato nanum
black ni nyina akọ
eh ya kofie ele ma de charge kofie eh yaw mazam kofie ya
I know that
you overlook the negativity
from money every baba
a bo na hu
de ba
I say be a crack card but yaw there are three things I believe we be man na sure ba na hu say the way atwe ho de di kan oba won na fufu bebre
true
bema oba won na fufu bebre hweniye
me ko ha
number 2 oba opekasa uni nya asem ketua bia amansen nyina wo wiase nyina bete ona oba wo mu ade uhu sa anyoma me esa we pe me catch process sa anyoma ne fa mpabo ne turu me kan dwane enya sa wasem ba se de wiase be so pawo no ono na da sa man na danfo ne ka asem a otie chan wo oye ya na akobusa no
ana de omo ye kwa ye Wednesday
asa danfo na de me be ko adamfo na tina meka so ban na fofo doso se be ma na fofo doso ana abofu ana opa akohwie but bad na fofo doso say we be we share secret we share we no mo de ko bachelor's night ni sa anyoma no to woni na asemesi wachi yawo we de ne ba se be sports ye de jamo
wo I'm say Messiah for Ballon d'Or. See,
I
was saying,
I could Ballon d'Or.
Session Ballon d'Or. I was here the
yeah, young quick. Yeah, what Messiah? I'm a oh, Charlie. Cecilia, I'm a football yo. Penny of ya, penny. Sure. Louis Enrique Casemiro, I say, or Nasser Al-Khelaifi. Nasser me, I say, appointing Enrique now. And the greatest ever decision I will make. I mean, I heard this story from you, and I'm able to say, this is a businessman. Being a football person, is just the recent past year, a football guy. But then he's an astute businessman. He's taking a lot of decisions. For him to say, getting Luis Enrique, and the greatest decision. What is this guy trying to put across here? So o sha de no a Luis Enrique de emsen ra no asem na ne kana na opanina ba be summarize no Paris Saint-Germain getting Luis Enrique no was like getting a crown jewel. Na one decisions be brave about football mu a aba yet to say men can say legacy anisa abeka decisions be brave ababeka only say Ubusa Messi say biggest club or greatest club about obviously for Barcelona. But after such a World Cup, who follow the interviews or or say going to Paris happens to be one of the greatest moves because Ebia Kwanko can Sanko can World Cup. That is to him a lot of sporting decisions. Sometimes a juvenile player or make the next big move. Yeah, you is a big move. Now kwako jeopardize bibia. Messi nya contract be brave from local clubs of Argentina. And sika no ye tutu bibidi. At that time na hia na ho kire wo family no no. Na mu hia sa sika no. But then when Barca popped up through that agent, ya ka 1987 asemo. Ene ya wo Messi o. And what dia ba around age 6, 7, 8, 9. When say Arabia no. Then taking the risk at the age of 13. Finally we decided to be free Kruma. Look at that age. Corona more making no. Na o deny say more as a national team player and Fama. Wasn't that a big decision? Huge. And more so, 2010 Spain World Cup. Everybody who loves football from a neutral perspective, from the pro Messi, from even Ronaldo side for you can say, and Messi can't Spain team no dia. And team will be come out for and Messi soon sabe can't World Cup will be. Na see because at that time no Nabasa a pick with Messi. Messi had to hold on until 2022. 12 years later after 2010 World Cup, and Sana Messi is AKB. Big decision for him not to play for La Roja. And then after 30 years, Argentina Saka last ever World Cup through Diego. They thought say Diego was their last god, but right now no, she may be Argentina for the Messi Kokosi. Big decision from Leo. Yow, mami sani won share we. So angel na me buy. Don't sama baby obi anyame hira no. Internet buy no may have been an internet person for a long time. A critical account, you share messages, you send the pictures. Then that co angel sports, my call Jumaba. My first job apartment and when I'm a press steps and so. When I'm cleaning steps and so you know from a stropa 15th floor basic from
no Spain.
No, Italy no.
Italy no.
My first job when I'm a year fee. It's almost like a neighborhood. So one guy or the laptop share to him every time I call Sassuolo for no or U18. On the man imagine about video analysis. But let me tell Angel Sports. Now send message about be sama be kind. If you are sama a kind message no boom dia. No run a hall in Trinity no punch a bear 5. So
Yama mention.
Yeah. So me catch sama say meaning blaster play because na John more modern no. Na minimum money sule mu
Yeah.
So me catch sama me need the ball hon komo ama ne hunu say behind me as a tester no me saso ni mbom no catch am say me ba me hwehwe no me buy no hu say me ba first day sama say brabeka sanam say no me come media school no say no the knowledge you have no enye the media school no na only adwuma ne fancy one say me hwe fancy no host or Angel or Accra o
Angel TV 2016
and sama catch am say obehu no be pia ba sesi. And that decision to send a message to Angel Sports, no, me back and sama say brother hwehwe me. I'm coach sama. And on me coach ya gola. On me chair coach Kosiapia. That was it. I'm here today. That message I'm sending to Sports no. And I'm sama home. But sending messages bebre I'm a man for internet I mean be my reply be no money ade. But that's my message no. Make me say the greatest message internet.
That's right.
So Luis Enrique going to PSG after Ancelotti and the big coaches in alcohol. Nasser Al-Khelaifi is telling the world to say, yes, he's a businessman, but what they're not to achieve. The greatest ever decision I want to make is not getting Mbappe. It's not getting Ibrahimovic, Thiago Silva or Marquinhos, or maybe Neymar, Messi Munina. No, it is about getting this manager. He has been the fulcrum, the nucleus of the PSG project right now. And the power no supersede all the players. Luis Enrique, the power no supersede all the players. And for a president to say this, not just all corner office say, oh me here we are. You have no issues. But me the giant will watch Chelsea for one thing. Because Todd Boehly must say, no, I'm here Luis Enrique. You know why? Because I'm po be a okan. And also be I'm putting for the car. And so be on per se Jacob no Jacob and says I know the show him market people no yent me to him and when Amareska J trophy we no was sana John say no you came in as a coach Obanasa Gucci. No, get out. It's Liam Rossinia. How mean he is. Let's just do office. I say, academic office. It is all shit. Say, or no, was the car to say to Bolly, no, then the power no man ways run a club after I failed with series of appointment. Not to Bolly said there be minimum way, but Hannah me person mefa. How do you see the two mentality or the two different policies America was? So I agree with Nasa Akalafi. The greatest ever decision, Onya Luerike. Me no share media. Benzema say, what missing at Real Madrid almost a question for contest. Everyone must do what asked of them to start. On paper, they could be unbeatable, but they need to understand that to shine, they need the others. Kendall and one is on her.
We hear matches.
The matches so Kendall, we are the matches not to him.
Run to me.
Do you know teamwork when you need to deem part of your body or something, your game, to accommodate the other guy's game. But Benzema did it so he did so well. And now I'm a back. I'm more eminence and who say Gary Bale call ya dear. Bale ya dio or no bokakra. Because after Ronaldo, no, where is about Tana? Almost over Tana Madrid for us. Also, Bazen Madrid. And until Senna Vinicius, yeah, no, or person. It means no way, no, or superstar, but Ronaldo's sake. Even Modric, can only lead and be obey. But now Ronaldo. And ask Modric, Benzema, yeah, who boys were, yeah, you can't say General Coach picture, I want to be in picture. So, on no case, what demon ego, no, Ronaldo.
Back for mama.
Yeah, and yeah, easy. And easy. Yeah, sports adwuma ye told we cry host for yeah pandits great me here is animal chiremo. Time channel kwa yes animal you know what I'm saying. Who say she was sad and your point and come on so be to the car. And you like be our share say video come on. But I done demonstration kakra me so. Sane all boys we mu nyina mu. But if you think Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets Ebram wase lifted the spirit of Lionel Messi intino Mbappe nyesa ama Vinicius and Vinicius enyesa enfama Mbappe. I'll tell Benzema say it is solely down to that individual, not the Obekachi no. Solely down to Mbappe no say me yama Vinicius or down to Vinicius na say me ya the man Mbappe. Apart from the two admitting this, yaw obi antimi nto omofo coach bia bebre. Why would Ancelotti walk away? Say sorry ba. And yet no who soon you be who say Mbappe timi catch coach say mo mesre me enkom enchia mo. O ka Alonso Liam Rossinia. And he say Mbappe on Liam Rossinia kura nim. O catch Alonso no come beat no.
So mo mrame enko.
What? No yaw.
Timi nyina mo nye title.
It is down to those two players. Yeah. At some point, Abia Madrid be decide at some point. Or maybe it's a big challenge. Maybe coach with me and maintain it too. I'm on my ball. I get the best out of each other.
But to say they can winning serve. Winning also feels was serving Benzema ko. Ti ka Didier no. Ka ebeto 9 no so the time ni. Or that's sorry as in Mbappe. Any player we answer na mo dinachi for 3 seasons or so one ma na otimi yam wala line bo so the video ba bon chana say abegu and as a di Madrid ho fell say me tena PSG na kwesa say ye hu ni so player da meanwhile without no kra no ya budge Champions League ono vini ni kita 2 without Mbappe ntinka ono na free na e bi atwa me ni mo ne obi edene bebe bia nka ebi so Rodrigo mo ba be som ono so vini kwani asam ma chene with another agwably do ono ne me kana say bigger e chen wo no
enkomo ya yedi esa fi ho na Galactico no esie no
yeah
ene me ni san komo we o we just in traso Madrid sawo no adu so. They don't watch it yam anya dwuma. What do you have next to offer? What is keeping Vinicius relevant at Real Madrid? Any form. Mbappe called Danadi. Can Mbappe call against Benfica, against Man City? And a Vinicius and see for more. No. Sabri for sale Bobo. Madrid. Whatever you do, no, I come with you. And now Ramos. Casillas and Ronaldo Mue. Madrid. So we are now known as Masuma na Kayan Sumena. Madrid. No, we crown Omunya other big boys in your mefa. You listen home common woody. Yeah. But Vinicius in Yadi Okano. And Madrid wants some Yakano. The elite of the elite. Listen home common woody. Would you listen home common about that's rule? Now Vini you push Wabasia. Now we never call on top. That is what they are thinking. I'm up a Freeman attack. Freeman attack and by Vini down left here. Olise up top. Na Mbappe cut up for Chaliba Cardinal so what so fitted perfectly into 4-3-3 and then 4-3-2-1 2 no Olise no Vini no a bass inside forward na ja no we no if it works out it means no crown no relevance no so better because the best started Jude no so as our so Madrid Vini nyai only relevance right now any form but I want to really see a manager which will get the best out of these two guys. If indeed the club wants to maintain them. Maybe fear no. I think say number one there Carlos Queiroz will pass it near Zamson. Near Zamson if the man first one here meeting the press and how he communicated to everybody. Okay. I heard you are part. On paying so no. Them say because you drew her. Oh, but say free no be na can no pa. Okay. As will be a bonabaso with said no see handle until I'm saying what pass here. Yeah. Wontumi yeah akadi wo be pass o fans na nimo mo twen no nti no mene be discuss ade bi board no so eto in the last game against Germany one of the most poorest tactical shapes am mani hu say Ghana the role we gave to Jordan Ayew was so bad but I blame the coach. I want to talk about that na ma send the Carlos say on hwe ma we hu 1 2 3 you know nye e team no wo me na say new Meza.
Yes, emra na obobo ben na season so ba na wie obia on the perspective of how things should unfold. And I think for whatever Nasser Khelafi Kadifa Luis Enrique who about the end result of where they've come afar from, because Paris Saint-Germain are establishing itself among the top football clubs in European football as it stands under Luis Enrique. You see, there is no pain in accepting failure. Eya obia nim se obegia tum se wedding kugu. That is the first step. What the best is sanwadrin no to anamompa na de adi. So I always tell people in this life say yawo wahwe ase nkyere se obeka wo. Wahwe ase no enya nimgu ase. You see, the perspective of Nipa, anyone can have perspective, you know, are two different things. Nipa perspective can sometimes shape your ideas and what you should do in your next step. But one can have perspective of how you do things. A bit me do wash yourself. Dada in ye bium. It's in a 10 year cast a dream packers and pafa. Nijina because one was them. And he said you susu yetiano. It was a huge influence on how your life turns out. Yeah. PS Yashasiano. Their project no more the ban, dream no more the ban. It was a failure.
Madrid
now it was a failure, especially at Bramukojina Stadium. Emma supporters ba bebrebe. No more the Donnarumma achre, no more the Sergio Ramos achre, no more the Jorginho Van Aadu achre, no more the Lionel Messi abechre. Just a real small kuku damn players no more the omubechre. Skabe pa no mudi player be pa no muntimi to omu yaso moba. But to admit at a point in time that no, we have failed. Yow, you failed. So let's go into the market and get other players and bring them in and make sure see a collective effort. And the decision to even do away with Kylian Mbappe. Yow, who takes that decision? Should the caliber of player Mbappe is? Ya no ejina so aka say there bi ubekokura na ise obeso kofiri adeko no be from Fambra And that is the reason why Paris Saint-Germain are who they are now. Yeah, certain managers transform teams, certain sporting directors transform teams, but unya both correct. Yeah, and was something everlasting, a solid foundation for other clubs to build on. And they been Luis Campos. Yeah, we can't do away with Luis Enrique. We got Luis Campos. Signing is not also no. Vitinha was literally a flop. Yeah, in the Premier League, meboa. Another corner name here. Now I was even surprised that Kivicha Kvaratskhelia was 70 million euros or 70 million pounds. Other clubs push for him.
Push January. So clubs no
be so strategic.
Yeah.
Now yeah, 70 million. Hey.
Fokra. Kvaratskhelia. And
look at the quality he brings to the setup. Zabani, Bournemouth. Obia when he say, oh okay, you bet me assign. Oh, ain't me assign. Oh, bet me assign. Oh, ain't me assign. Sign your money. Zabani ko. Pacho in Frankfurt. So they've been properly strategic about how they want to operate. Yow. And on a trim assembly kosi Chelsea assembly so say Chelsea, whatever they have done in terms of their project, a failure. There is no need in accepting it and changing it and working towards, because you don't crown this can change PSG. David, who needs can to just what 220 million euros is kind of cash? He said, just sign player da. Who sign crown no man in 9 years? Emu 8 to 7 are the we not throw check in the cash net the La Liga office or some for musica. No amortization. So accept it and work towards. Yeah, on the discussion about one midfielders and two, and who becomes the next manager for Manchester United. Yeah, in commodity na Carrick. On one in the Ekika Kuyo beti me Manchester United manager. On the beti me in commodity na eko anymore. There is no doubt about Carrick's impact and what this Manchester United team is so. There is no doubt about that. Definitely, Wama players no bought according to basically what they were bought for. It ya obi a 10 or money 10, meboa. Obi a 9 or money 9. Obi a 7 or on your day or money 7. On your adrenaline say or tachubia. But there's something a lot of people are forgetting, that being an interim manager is totally different from being a permanent manager. So the reportage coming from Manchester United deep within, I say yaw. In Pennyphone 2 years, I didn't carry Kayan or deserve and fair Jumanamano. Name almost said dream question in the long term. Carrick able to me the Premier League, and the Champions League, not Manchester United and Yow. There are two different scenarios of when Manchester United appointed certain coaches and now Abraham would be appointed Michael Carrick. And my expectations is this is nothing against Michael Carrick, and it doesn't show say he can't do the job. But you need common and analyze the situation here. Yeah. So Okofa Ruben Amorim the bar after Eric Ten Hag, you talk about rebuilding. Because Uji to me as a player now, Eric Ten Hag the bar any baby and a team na kwako jinano. Unya said dodo na beja hono wako na fufuro wako fa fufuro aba no ma bedi dwuma. The same thing happened when Eric Ten Hag joined Manchester United. No be any say rebuild. It's Eric Ten Hag and Pamo dodo na e team no nkofa fufuro mfanye dey. But for the first time in Manchester United's history, after Sir Alex Ferguson left, a new manager is coming in, and I don't think anybody is talking about rebuilding. Ruben Amorim resource na air time. But what is your big case about rebuilding? The only discussions that is going on is Manchester United here midfielders kakrebi to attach another. Then the team will carry on, because you did to me say, baby a team ni free last season. Carrick be so mid season. Every team na ba be drew no. Enya baby e was say rebuilding. Baby e was say continuity, near modifications. Near science no kakra bi on your man will be good to go. Eti no na ma adwuma na ye den de ma Carrick, because expectation will differ. Ya we an interim. You can play anywhere, anyhow to get results. Nobody cares. What is the mention as no? But in the long term, there will be questions about your style of play. There will be questions about how you approach games. And there will be questions about how Obetimi someone no adapt it as the Premier League goes on. This is where Jesse Walker was mounting chamber be a year or more dream will be said there be. So we say if the man na say unfair, that means yan kwan ye ba ya no yaw. How many coaches you retain Hag be boa? Ya kofa Ruben Amorim ba ayebuburu ja. Carrick so ba be bi. Yeah, antimi anye ye. Then people start doubting you. Some about United no eba coaches a mo betimi afa papa bi ama na be ye dey. Ama na be ye adwuma. This is a job that Manchester United shouldn't use emotions to accept anybody. The big mistake of Manchester United in recent years, some of the emotions they taking decisions. And if you want to be successful as a football club, you don't use emotions. And we are proper legend the ten Santiago Solari money we muno ombe coach Madrid monana. Now Alonso onya Madrid legend. Mebwa.
Oh yeah.
What the emotions? Shafi onya Barcelona legend.
Yes.
So whenever it is about Manchester United, emotions start growing. And one of our own, I know a United DNA. Masa, clubs are improving and you are here doing DNA and emotional attachment. Now, they should go into the market, look for coaches that will fit whatever they want to do and continue. Security no mudi 2 years wa, then they should be ready for the consequences that comes along with a manager like that. No what was free one na the pressure ba. And me say Elliot Anderson, you see, when something like this are happening, you see, players look at coaches before they join clubs. And there's no doubt about the influence of coaches in players' lives, especially when they want to take decisions. Yow, Metier interview. Me Metier, and it is factual. In Bramo say, only Ruben Amorim Kasa and Ruben Amorim in the convention is over Manchester United. Yeah, one a story no kasi me try throw.
True.
Kunya so situation in net say, you need the same thing. You see, it is important to assess all of these things before you bring in who to be your next manager. And then Elliot Anderson be come Manchester City. The ekeka koi no yaw. So I have a domino effect in the be adwuma yaw. If Elliot Anderson should join Manchester City, the question is, or no, any Rodri betimi about Bomana? Yes. So what do you know say? Elliot Anderson going to Manchester City will push Rodri to Real Madrid. Sadri Wututu. Because Nottingham Forest, no. Elliot Anderson on a Sangare nebo meboa. Elliot Anderson on a Kobimenu Abobida with England national team meboa. And then you go walk up and you only declare the double pivot. So he's a player who can play as a 6. He's a player who can play as a 8, and he's a player who can play as a 10. By now. Nottingham Forest no bo 8 to the biano akobo 6 it won't mean Rodri bo
wait me
and then Bernardo Silva and Rodri na bo meboa Bernardo Silva call at the end of the season now when more proper physical balance e ba sakwana ha Rodri na ba be Bernardo Silva adwuma ne bebredi ama no then no na city na Rodri had the opportunity to do whatever Bernardo Silva was doing. So it doesn't automatically mean that Elliot Anderson joining Manchester City means that Rodri will move to Real Madrid. If Rodri move to Real Madrid, now Manchester United target here why? Tramani. There's a domino effect, no. Etutum deba. By now, I feel you know the quality of midfielders within the system and what you want your team to do. Yeah, especially when you're playing 4 competitions, you have a tough squad that can compete and could put all on the run. And I think for Manchester United, they'll be looking forward to get a proper. You see, Carlos Baleba diya bem kakra, Tonali diya bem kakra. Man United doesn't want to go to Tonali. And the news say, "Wow, Bontini says Tonali si kana body." Ya wente senya no credit. Manchester United through betting issues ne attaching no. These clubs they look at all of these things before they sign any player. Omohwe sign your ma we nyina. Because how a Newcastle take his issue, United that can be blown out of the proportion. Omohwe sign your ma we nyina, sana they will take a decision to accept say yaw A and B betimi dey abo. But I think United should sort out their managers issue, understand the quality of players that will fit into the right system of yaw. These players are mark form with your maba. Then in the long run, no, ubetimi the proper complement for all of you see the other clubs. The example when you look at the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, no Momaka, and the Koma Faso Ayo sign is a fix into the perspective and ideology of the coach now Ujina bench and in the Jumedi Obabidi. Yeah, Real Madrid Bebo Robertis and then and then Omulusu a league no yeah let me say baby SC Nisa. Now Karim Benzema come on there. Obianim say no correct. And ya feel Obi be and I say that Real Madrid and I do say yeah obi anim say asem okay no correct that obia pe say onya individual glory for themselves which will not help them. But I think for Real Madrid against Real Betis tonight, there is a need for them to end the league on a positive note. Yeah, will you give up the fight? And I don't think Ombe willing and happy. Say Omako Remu with the new camp. Anna ya Omokoma God of Anna. But this is going to be a very difficult. Yeah, on
Madrid. I'm so no God of Anna Emma Negrera for
Emma
almost Barcelona for Negrera.
Now money obo league ni meye. You see, yeah, show more than mono. And I think Robert Isco a very good results last weekend. And coming into this fixture, it makes it Isco back. And Omu team near stronger. I want to see how Real Madrid continues to get results. But yeah, Omu team near porous. Now I heard the chances Alaves were Omu critical Real Madrid. I'm saying, aye. Alaves mo Alaves mo how Madrid are. Wow, yeah, the basic because your Ghana Juma be team the basic one na yaba ehone so.
Okay. Whoa, Mate, me that say. Now you have a screen. Is what I'm saying. Juma ya babe 80% done. See, yeah, but see, try we crowd. I'm say esa be sound the camera na alpha, but I'm say by ibia near we output no solid. See, I know the I'm say sky chief for the nebia na mubenya na new say bibia cool.
Come on, pa.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. So, okay, okay. So finally, we're getting close to whatever I've been talking about today. The request from listeners and the viewers to start using this. Even I said the bed now, when Messiah touch and all of that. But there were plans na say bit me I 1 or 2. Carlos Cruz, I won't come on definitely but then Nina also a brave person be rolling dice on the board. Now you discuss a few things after meeting the Ghanaian press or discussing the future, his experiences, his past challenges, and why he, of course, tags the Ghanaian job as the greatest challenge in his about 40 year, over 4 decades career. He is saying, Ghana job on the greatest challenge at the man or no Carlos Cruz. Yo, a brother na say di upon home kakra.
Yeah, uncle.
Right, so we have a new manager and coming in out say from the FNA ministry no after World Cup no subject to the performance now send output be so World Cup Mexico US and Canada no and then the better say abeto so and answer on to so looking at this man and Kofi we are targeting say a defensive coach. He relies so much on his defensive ideas and all of that. But meaning the idea he is adaptable or switch or based on the squad he has.
Okay.
No adapt. So imagine him say based on games and no to adobo or be fashion or she be life or whatever. But the last 2 games no be share. Yeah, me share game no. Against Germany, me the example. Jordan Ayew ni age ni profile as a striker and position no. Ne ho ahomete kakra because obi ho ahomete a as obi o hadwene nya sa na pese me kire but we no year the rule no a bit difficult to define especially based on the demands of the current game. Would say yensha Germany style of play on the ball game no Otto Adon nim bi ono so the game no how he knew this German say on babe outline a system a betimi abo e amaye ho akire by keeping the ball. They gave one role to Kimmich e game no mu ayaw sa me share Kimmich role na no Germany for na Bobby Pen e akire ho ama Bobby Pen na German loves possession at the base of their team because what you say e be Hansi Flick and I'll tell you more about that but o share anytime Biana ya discuss systems and tactics no we feel say the Spanish teams in Mumuna yana a possession, but Germany for no possession, except say, but be a more possession, just at the base of the team. For instance, verse is the base of the team. Defense is the base of the team. Who Benjamin Asari, who Derek, Ajete, Jiku, who upon Germany for no 7 American. Yao. Yurenchi Pate, Sibo, Semenyo, Jordan Ayew, Prince. We know who had a 4-4-2. 4-4-2 way as I say enka unya speed wa ha unya directness ewa ha so unya speed directness ewa ha
see
aha so unya stability and cover baako air kwa na baako cover no and then these two baako be drop it without the ball na baako aka top always per the coach maybe two no be drop it whatever it is but this is it Germany effort to free one on a TV so and then ohwe Ghana de no ayaw hwade bi a metro 442 na hu ye but say system na system ha Irenchi Ajete Jiku Prepra and then Derekon 5 man at the back 7 Sibo Party and then a you 4 in the middle Prince Edukabana we any practically how are you shape no you pass the ball no obia bachire ni akwakoja Prince out top but only baby a problem no Jordan position no the role a coach in the man no e ka many otu ado na kwa ma Jordan any role bia no agya no top na kwa ma Edukabana ababa yes adwuma no I'll show you let's watch here. Whenever we are talking about systems it means opponents no study no and hu no. Now they can about Otowado ne say yo game no cost no. There was one area of the pitch I saw something I would want to share. Share Germany for no. Who say may highlight a back phobia patroso hunu.
Yes.
Now this is a DM. But that is Kimmich. Jonathan Tah Rudiger. Busam say Angelo still away.
So still away.
Okay. Only.
Ono so ne Kimmich and anke bo 66 no.
Bo on Kimmich 02. On Gross and there's under me for the me Panama. On 4-2-3-1. But the role of Kimmich no in the BTO to Ado. And that is something I want to highlight here. This role. Me highlight role na na person use screen we see screen na come here. Yeah, this is it. Kimmich the any role in the BTA. This is the whatever disturbed Otowado and the boys in nyina baby am highlighted the action because for the Jordan are you and the Mark Kimmich. So I want us to read through these lines and find out say did the coach really along with the technical team analyze Germany before the game or more analyze them. Now formation where you Kimmich as a right back. But game na start here. Coach ni moving the number in fin. Na the role no. Germany answer take you back. When you Ghana game no.
Spain.
Where Spain. Now the thing we no back was the fact that it has always been a German thing to have stability at the base of their team. Oh dear no.
Yeah.
Oh three back no.
Yeah.
When we part this time we play Kimmich role no. Tony Cruz. They want to have control over the possession at the base of the team and sign Omako. It is Omachabo no so ba oche so ha. Omodu midfielder I intend them so Omako. That was the idea Germany came with. Now Omabo ache pa. Now that time no hwehwe Kimmich now and so Omobo right back into a movie diaba. And yeah, there was no way Ghana could come back fighting against this system. For Otowado. One Kimmich wa ha. On the this across we he was as a right back. Basa possession role na make no. And then Masadi Betro, this is the back three. Once a Kimmich and then the lone pivot. Back freeway. So if you know Germany, if you know a certain system, say when now they call game no, that is how you define your role. So roles being a coach Otowado, you define them. Now this is not to Otowado. This is purely a message to Carlos Queiroz. How we really struggled. And the roller, Yedema Kimmich. Oh, game against Germany, yeah, very, very, very difficult at the mind. At some point, what I did realize, I will give him say, now to add him say, you be ma Kimmich sa rule no, and qualify Jordan emano. Yeah, I never quite didn't obey your tactics. Oh, yeah, I can't do administrative appointment, marketing, whatever. But how to decode opponents? Now one kasa ube codify also systems, you know. Yeah, very, very, very tough. So look, every time Biano Germany for you build it out at their bar. Watch them. I've really come to understand, say, now Otowado bread and sand when you're imprint our games also. And I don't want Carlos to face similar situations. So this is Jordan. She Jordan or her. What do you show screen also? Let me highlight Jordan and show.
Kimmich and Jordan and my highlights and ya omumienu this is Jordan and you Kimmich rule now all bono your friend possession maintenance it's bia wa field na so a ho kire wo no he shows up
okay
but someone build it out to the akwa or number 2 the position how to confuse the opponent it will never bounce so bia ball will be irrelevant so coach ni assign it to Jordan it to bia Jordan nam no Kimmich nam ne chi won ma but because Jordan is not built in that mood no and he's our captain, he's our most experienced finisher, he has to be on the field. He being on the field, we need to find a way to define his role. Other than that, you best struggle. These are some of the situations that now my person highlighted about the Carlos Queiroz in the presses, And whenever I talk about systems, now and your systems how to bring a results. But for a national team, systems are how to get to the best out of them and send a results, I follow suit. So Carlos Queiroz and monitor there who are our best players and what's trend today. Watch Jordan once again. Have you seen Jordan now drop here? But Kimmich is always around this same spot. Watch Kimmich.
Yes.
What no?
You're free.
He is always free. I feel now over here pa. It's not my touching no. But any Jordan in photo, I don't know why Obama or captain in age like Jordan states say on drop him whenever you find out say on say Jordan here watch him. So whenever Jordan never ban so be call Kimmich in channel they sell another player to him. So they be Kimmich in be free because on your possession hub he keeps the ball more often at the moment.
You see, no kasa about Kimmich ni Jordan are you issue of dropping deep and answer or missing a man. Do you think is the instruction of the coach or is it the preference of the player? In terms of so Jinabo more only decision as a player and on your discipline, tactically discipline to stay at a Juma Ediaman and I say a coach in an empty million Juma.
Well, question we know sometimes we have information we have to dressing room, but then where a baby how they play on the field. Jordan, it told me who came out no be fan. First half first 20 minutes or a Juma perfect. A free hawk on then Ujano, not Thomas Petaba. And Kimmich in Tina Elisha Usubaye. So Nazar, every player on the field, 22 players will be on the row from the coach. Every player. To me, now you're sure I don't know if you dress, wash your boots, what dress, wash your sleeves, every player. And so I show to other midfielders, and the midfielders say I don't drop you. Now the attackers in the moment by the new midfielders. Why would Jordan be here? Watch him. Why would Jordan be here? Yeah, and then about Jordan, about baby watch Jordan.
Because all the anchor DM for Najuma.
Watch Jordan. And Kimmich is the boy neighbor. He is always not in a situation to stop Kimmich.
So as a man marking be.
I have said the man about any man also no Kimmich call the Jano. No one's around near Chelsea. Now your co goes so. I'll just highlight that. Every time ball when I share first time no I want you offside. It's Germany. After ball we turn it I said oh but maybe I don't think so. As I said, you're perceiving the best out of Jordan. In fact, as I said, your man defensive rule. Yeah, once again, watch these two plays. That's Jordan. That's Kimmich. You always find out say, "Omumi no." But then Jordan onye Juma, and I make say enya ne fault and onye Juma. Maybe Prince Edu come now more energetic, more quicker, more mobile. But if you tell a 33-year-old experienced striker, say on track it, a midfielder or both two different shadow positions, or invertible midfield, or call out as right back, it will be very difficult for Jordan to do that. Now, yeah, so maybe Jordan we assess in your bar and no different as I ran the attack. These were the problems we had under Otuado. These were the problems. Just watch the two plays. Jordan about Deepo, he has to contain him, but just watch them. But that's not my problem. And I've said it severally, there's no way say me blame Jordan for his role. But the coach now, or the role no, the man Jordan no. Yeah, when I did go in the buy, and there was something I also saw, and I make us say, Semenyo form ne how your expectation was so no. Carlos Queiroz and me defining guys we say rules and form more. Your boys now more ball creating some more form no. I'm buy out, want to be more. Semenyo form no how the position no. As a cell ball, Ubenya born and a cow de mano. Shall be a Germany? So, how our formation it's here. We are building out in a 4-2-3-1.
show TV no sudi Ghana white you build it out in a 4-2-3-1
okay
so 4-2-3-1 no Germany for him say yeah defenders no mukra ball mo nya de o into mo ntake omo but they know we will be using our midfielders to transition as the second phase if you have back four no pressure be the back four no so
Obian close omo
Obian form
but in fin omo
so that's the load is in the midfield and Ghana midfield you close no means about na call long one oboko long one Jordan on fa ball so meto form semenyo or out wide Prince Adu come no be bully na manato form so the ball becomes a 50-50 duel or situation now I'm pick a ball no and this is what you see on your screen yo just watch the load that Germany for Edema Ghana e wo finfio and I keep saying say ball no dey say wanya the good definition of a squad now you cannot set out better rules for them back four you free but then how do you connect to your midfield where you dey you toward sa yo you dey you toward sa look at Germany but Kimmich the ball by yes you no dey aba by ye person dey kwa and I just want to tell Carlos Queiroz say we wanted to come back to our screen by using the blaster message way so this time now what can you attend but there's a real tactical problem what team no more and team my transition ko and my struggle you keep ball no so finally watch we won't say Elisha who soon try say or bet chaba be ball na but Elisha no tightly I'm close to no fin yeah you can see Elisha yeah. And finally you delay na ball na ko achiro no no hwe de mama ke no mo de have you seen that
yes
just watch it everywhere on the screen there's a man marking setup so how do we then build up Elisha also free bench the buy no more no 1-on-1 this is when we want to go but say ya omo the ball near ba send dey akwa
omunya
easily because of the roles we defined for our players
but who nya no masa ji possession from him
anya no hu no hai nya the ball long ball ko Jordan antimi hold on abai now it comes back to the Jordan and then the Kimmich row who two players now and na Messiah Busami no he's always around him oba or the wheel is oba be ejuma but watch Jordan have you seen that let break it further more just watch so was a Jordan aba
yeah
but Kimmich is just working around him and you see them say row ni there waba but wanya ejuma no and I don't think he has to track back to that deep and you hear no he's the most experienced finisher. Whoever says he had Jordan or field, so maybe I don't know. Yes, I said Jordan can home, but we really understand the fact say who experienced finisher, yeah, who finding your defensive job. Jordan need your baby, but when Mama Yajumana will open. And then there's Elisha and then Kai Havertz. Yes, I know the and then I'm Messiah Busamino. Say coaching the man say you're not captain and drop it back whenever he comes neglectfully on mama ye jumanas is your fan to me menya anaka Jordan moment or top if he has to be on the field but sir Rose when out to man Jordan baby drew there Jordan will always come after game no be checking the meters and distances or cover no cover more but then the effectiveness of the coverage it's Kimmich also Kimmich are you watching Nachipe is that not the case? Yeah. Because Elisha has been held down by Kai Havertz and not going to buy, you know. And it's more beautiful with even the second goal. Yeah, the second goal no crowd there. Not Jordan and Kimmich, one and Falcon. So Jordan and how Kimmich crowd bona. And all the goals, Kimmich is so evil because the possession hub, possession security, born the corner or returning born at the moment. On a recycle near maybe breed them and say such a player with team unaka say or systems are design and on fan on there so yeah a best time say now for hon so why would you assign Jordan to track back at 33
think I made for the Juma
yeah I mean obviously he's always late and he
say we know Jordan a bit drop you so deep ababe mark obi and also ababe mark obi wa bra chemical no so ban anim na wonya born it means say won share any men up front
so sana auto set up enu tina na ka kwabna prince no e top no o say games no e ka no because auto yi Jordan Emma Kimmich and Kimmich is a deep ball receiver patriotic say deeper like
from keeper no hona no ma edru Kimmich. And the best Jordan ni no on the bebre. Na so who knows obehu ana Kimmich no ba. But we are just a piece of message tactically how we have been poor in setting up. When you watch the Austria game, esa sa time no kan ni kwase ebo to abo Germany game no. And I know say this manager will face a lot of issues. You know why? Because your number 9 for ahodo 5 say Prince Edu Kwabra Jordan, Antoine Semenyo, Inaki Williams, and Thomas Brendan Asante. Omu nyina different types, but omu suno SSA. No omu suno SSA no Jordan or your captain, you SSA starting no. Semenyo on your form pa or your team no SSA you starting no. Then these two guys, yow, omu nyɛ compatible. Because compatibility on the field. Vini ni Mbappe in common, Bini Ekano. These guys are not compatible. So me pe be away your pani. Or but you know my cassette define Roby or be respected their mom. Yow, they are not really compatible. I have a lot to say over her. As much as I screen about there. I feel near Baba Edgeman. So my main for winning Siana. Men joining Messiah. Near for the account so.
Okay, well, me that's new. Same say Carlos Queiroz. Well, my member is out here now. You remember to us so now quick.
Yes, I think for Carlos Queiroz, there is so much experience with him when he joined in recent clubs and even national team to know how to handle the press and speak in a way omobobe timi ato moyem ama enyoma bi etimi akoyie di ama o my Ghana etimi afa ntoma padifra. But there are 4 picks from the press conference. No, yeah, na I'll come on it. But I think in a nutshell, the posture, the demeanor, how I answer questions, no was top notch. And surprising me because of the Juma why any level I could draw the Ababet now. Because he coached Real Madrid at a time where they were Galacticos. What did they mention as no? Now I assistant coach to Sir Alex Ferguson, baby I will run some kitwa. We coach Sporting CP, we Remo Portugal. But Sanyoma win na ye kan nyina de abom ni nyina ne yaw. Esum beba mfa so kese pa e ne dwumadi obabedi wo Ghana na nyoma ebeti akoso de yaw. And I think he's one person I will buy, you know. A lot of Ghanaians actually say no. You see, also it's not easy accepting certain coaches within our terrain, especially from the first day they are appointed. Otwaro second coming is kakra as compared to even the first one akra. Milovan Rava second coming no. Na mafo bon shedan jususa. But for this there is a total consensus. Say Ghanaians are in to support Carlos Queiroz to make sure that Nisabeti media carry results also Nisatimika. Yow, from the press conference, 4 key things. 1, yeah, I think Mr. Otieji of TV3, Ebusani say amount for G2 years and the team no ye and the teams are tied the boy defensive teams. Omo type defending bebrebe ni ade. Na Obe describing the style of playing and also on a winning coach. Aside winning coach, no say no or the team jina packs so more. So more in possession or expect some better attack. When they don't have the ball, or expect some money in a baby day. So that is the first thing we discuss about. Yeah. So describing who as a winning coach, I see no problem with it because definitely the table in say beshe. And I am on a contract of 4 months. Yeah, the moment you are given a short-term contract of 4 months, there is nothing much more important than winning. Because see, I'm out 2 years. And I did be a foundation, I did be a prepared team, I be more proper tactical identity. The moment you are given 4 months, and you extremely like go into games and go and win games. Resource. Now the contract you signed. Clause woman says, so to me the Ghana drew the quarterfinals of the World Cup, automatically a trigger 2 years the amount. Meaning say, your African Cup of Nations but was 2 if we should qualify. Your 2027 African Cup of Nations and your 2028 African Cup of Nations. Which to me, it is even much more important to Ghanaians than other competitions because they failing woefully in the last few years. From being 4-time champions to say you be AFCON nim crampo as say I den crampo say qualification cry day. we've had a similar story to whatever the time or the moment Carlos Queiroz is coming to coach the Black Stars. And there be our yebetimi bunkompa koyechi akoshe Tunisia 2004 when we failed to qualify. Yow, Yanfanshe Trim said that was also a North African country that was hosting the African Cup of Nations. I'm away Morocco Yanko. But the time gap between 2004 and Yentimian qualify to what we achieved in 2006. Yow, 2006 AFCON yes I failure. Baba Amando Mumia Koye, Matthew Amwa. Sa 2006 AFCON na Taiwo Nigeria, Okudina Fiki Etia no abon say time. Na short neighbor, ya Yentimian qualify out of the group. Ni ene Zimbabwe mu ne group mu, and ye gu ehun anim ase. And ye they come World Cup qualifiers, they qualify by World Cup 2006. Now in this instance, we failed to qualify for the African Cup of Nations, yeah. But the World Cup is closer to us. And at the World Cup, nothing more, nothing less is expected, especially looking at the current crop of your players. So if you are a winning coach, that means you need a proper balance within this team to get you the results you want. Style of play doesn't really matter. So I think for the Ghanaian populace, this is the time to manage your expectations when it comes to the style of play. Black Stars. For sure, trim. So who tell me an opaya? For sure, trim say, and your sambre na be say, yes, so ya mobo. Because coach na yede ne buy no, the 4 months contract yede man say on fanya adwuma no, or say or your winning coach. So whatever way, how or kwando befa so bi or dey winning games bia no, accept it because 4 months your former team mo boy efe. All attack, all defend, and oba team no befa no. Omo a cho no mo baby omo akosi. Omo defend ya cho no mo kwa befa so bebe chi no mo bebe defend. So the first thing as a Ghanaian, you need to put it at the back of your mind is the coach is on a 4 months contract. And there's nothing like style of play at this moment in time where you should be expectant. Say a Ghana kobobo be a bradrin tiasia so to say the Spain ko possess ball, Argentina ko possess ball, no ko possess ball. Obi an kase ball ne mo be efe, but en fan show trim fan priority. Say ball be a was ye bobia no, e was say ya kono because the Juma na wabefa no. E so 2 friendly games to play before the World Cup. The first friendly game the Crampo about to assess the players no. On to me assess the proper Black Stars players. Because the first one is going to be against Mexico around 22nd May. So 22nd May ne boss a friendly game no. Now most of these top players omunya season. So they are not going to be part of the team now. Yeah, the back about the Mexico game, the friendly match. The only time he might have an opportunity to really assess the team and I'm say yaw obehe videos baby. So I'm not surprised to see team no watchemu too. Ebi wa man on here is going to be properly data driven. Remember how as my second point.
Okay. And
son omo wia omo make sure some more Ghana hand so team ya. So the videos will be more. Obehe videos more.
No no some more Ghana how watch team no Ghana no. She say few games I can one.
They be on say the assistants they say we are maintaining the small affair. You maintain John Pencil
from one report.
Maintain Fatal Dauda. It's your money report. And on also kutan assistance on your moya, you more 5 or more some better team no. So 5 they be one mononia. For now, also more focus in about say on data driven kind of things to assess local players, foreign players, and know how a team will be a baby and what they want to be because the time is limited. New baby on no question to me share over 20 videos to 30 videos. 73 years. I don't think he can do that. So he will do with more recommendations from the 2 teams now will put trust into their hands to help him deal with that. But the first point clarifies say yenye expectation who abotre kakra ni to yeah number 2 or say data driven in terms of assessing these players and the collapse that come into the national team. Yeah, the big question we've always been asking Ghana here. They be ankoma ye di nyina na say aden na was a player we a friend national team I am friend no. Aden na was a player he a friend national team I am friend. Yeah, the moment you make a case about data driven and you call a player na statistics are backing on your properly data driven that nipa na young friend na yeah questions bebrebe na man for webusa. In some P. But I'm trusting him because of his level of experience. Why you were human? Data driven, the many budget pa. And a data driven, so Ghana had the NIC, Kofa Ghanaian players who are goes 10. Ghana Premier League yaw me Kroma say waje man of the match awards be 4 and 5 me Kroma say ade ba ko me fa analyze Ghana Premier League player ba ko kura no goals do a wash any man of the match awards do a watch there be me fa analyze
and man of the match
any man of the match award me fa analyze it yaw and the goals no you see goals in come on na no di nkomo bi na manage wo also aka ketere we siso also ko fa attack me issue bi bai say attack me show ba bi ani fani tuku akọ ha ba bi hwe ne fa o assess player na
ampanfo bi okọ ha
environment we say na tie we say e very important because ye Kroma na ye be wie goal king no na nipa na wo share 20 goals and 15 goals dg goal king no e mu 12 e fie so the environment at home e ma na ye solid we did Korea Blasters we did ko ba bi abo se ne ho no ntimi hye. So the data driven is interesting to see what he has on board to give to us. But yeah, I think we have enough good players who are outside the league, who are even playing in the league, backed by stats. Yeah, almost solid.
Na omo any Ghana, but omo Africa no. Yen fi omo bi.
Omo kan omo nyina because the question was asked broadly. I think no be Nedika Busa about the local play because Ethiopia munyina we need to look at it. We need nyina because the data is anasisi. I think the core part of the team has been given to him, but he still assess it with omu data na better. Yaw, the toss Steve was man quick. The toss me and sa. Yaw, coach na me ati ase ehunu say obi en ho position with team nim. Ay.
I say be no score about Benjamin.
Nobody owns a national shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also two way. So qualifying kwa betting national.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I disagree with him on that. I disagree with him on that.
Well, they must go twice with you. National
team we are Obi Oni a shirt. There are always key players that owns a shirt when they are not injured in good form. They will always be wearing the shirt. And you can't say nay, say Kudusi available no, but Tottenham. You say nobody owns a national team shirt. That is not true. That is never true. National team be our key players. Burkina Faso or Edmond Taxoba. Would you tell me say he doesn't own a shirt there? He owns a shirt. National team Beyonce was skipper. The skipper owns a shirt until over retire and now say you feel say baby I would read it. Yeah, G captains in every no. As a moja ya G free ni hono so on one level of kodri. Ya G free Joe Mensah Stephen Aprea. But when he was wearing the armband, he owned the shirt. Media me feel coach, you know. I feel he will do a good job for us. And he's welcome to Ghana. The man akwa back a pa. Expectation no nya de kakra bia. The preferring one say ye benya a pattern of play. You say a game, no.
You say inside
yes, any GA kakra wom. Emre ni so. But that shouldn't be an excuse for the head coach to fail. He is not going to fail. And the appointments, and I had the best we could have done. You need experience in difficult situations. Until who was a situation me and I say association me. It be banner chaos about once a penny can see now woman on panic. It's very calm to the situation. And that is the sort of quality Yenya in coach Kires. When I'm come with baby I am a deno. I had the fact that he spoke to the local players. Say he would want to see them play, watch them. Inti amamatia say why Kasim Mingle afraid players we are or assemble no. But I challenge Bano. I had the attitude of a typical Ghanaian. Say the Ghanaian is trained to be timid. Tiakuko droning ni hosa until I walk about goal scoring ne omudru Africa na akoye problem no. Yedi hu na tete yen into endru baby a ube deliberate unti na akoda bi wo ha te se otimi nyini na onya shatawale subani bia oh we wo sa no onte sa o ya sha no. He's been coerced to live certain kind of way. not a natural self, or forgo into your liberation. That is when you see the natural instinct. Into players, you're from, but the presence of the head coach, I'm sure now question almost now. I'm more expect to say I'm a good mate. My bono, could you mistake? That's a justify. So what could be that? But don't say Bruni to
anxiety.
Yes, as far as we started, Mr. Pobimu of blessed memory, remember far players. I didn't know him but because a short period, being also did me prove we say you are good enough. And only idea is true. But me making a case for any of the local players, I think I will commit to Augustine Okra. He will be number one. Say play beer.
No, they no Kobai no who say so one ka the interview he stated say on mutim ni bi man na say that
period no complain say ono no e winga no ko train na dem butu ne tre no mu fa buo emma local players na man san your African campus on
but one kase omobi
yeah me per footballers I am stubborn with their more art and more craft no and attitude to people.
Yes. So
yes. So they will show, he's been stubborn to the crowd. This is what I can do better. Put me there. If I fail, take me out. I have no problem with that. I've lived closely with Augustine Okra. I make a man. But who player experience ball now? Because we need send a summer ball. Where to meet the ball? Yemfa ball in Juma on the ground, sir. I don't think the Ghanaian player be wo in the last 10 or so years, sir. Ni technique, no, any intelligence with the football, no, top notch. You may have issues with attitude, but me she player, they be able to catch you. I want to see you being stubborn on the field. Sometimes go against the coach in the chair and say you can do this better. Until you be all through in life, no. We about 10. We about 7, we about 11. All of a sudden you say, your friend, 3. What are you recommending? Did you recommend him to the national team handlers as a number 3?
Yeah, fro. No, show say a fro. What you say?
Into position.
Yeah, fro say be, but ebia Ghana for that public outcry. Mon friend, Jenny. You remember call up and now we are singing now say a fro. So as a elimination by rough tactics.
This is Shadrach bit me an eclipse Caribbean Moasha.
Estenokra.
Player now, I cannot was him. Where the nano
too underrated.
So underrated.
Oh, you Krumasi.
So underrated.
You can be free kick or strike a ball pace. Brilliant. Look at the goals I show this season. Or Kobe or baby, I'm not
no, so kuna bechima sanje.
Me who Ghanaian player be a machine life or pace, nani intelligence and so kuta bono.
No, because it's a Babareto whom the technical ability ne kuta ukrano.
Oh, what kind of some Barreto? Or by you know, I think situation be na Ukraine injury kakra. It's like coach in Sukrampa medical team natural says so umbiti my baby amana ready.
Whoa.
That is the player we are talking about. Then celebrating not that much. But ball. So being for ball. Number 3 near 2 near me they foul. If you can. Chase me if you can. Wabo Yanga, Wabo Simba, Wabo Amerik. Oh, Sudan.
Player Makwa became for the dinner pa.
Grano.
I'm not into no mama stance no. Okay, no cast.
I am a generational talent. Of a tumba could be a chance
once.
So the local boy is no more one day. He nations player and everyone say I know. Yeah. So your coach papa will name how to polish or be the DBH or could be a papa chambi. And that is not an insult. Coach be a strength. It be a developers. It be a physical trainers. Into the team no more about 90 minutes in team umbre. It be moon team in Jacob. nkyerɛ sɛ wasan obi nso deɛ deɛ fa no bra ɔbɛgye trophy ama ɔsisiɛ enti coaches no
okay so okra de ne bi ne meboa
Shadrack Yamishra ade we ode aye ohini brenyam ne awa Muhammad mu a atwamu se boto wo mfa wo nko no obewie osisi okusie he's that player I wish when yenya America Kraman with the national team now goals now Osheno last 2 seasons we share goal we got it was a cross o frechiri na run say oni height o but baby your pin ball no direct ball no control you know say nya adwene no na sabi I was through bebra most of the players you know, will get it wrong the clips no door so pa
when to slow down when to accelerate
yes
I was so a bobo na che
me say
bobo na che
the all kind of tempo control say give no running speed or no me say slow down
yeah mean slow me ferenka make I say the hype I de ma kudus no ondru okra obi o show okra pa but faith any destiny no I trade am
yeah
but the quality ekutan say raw talent ni yemfa nye bibi no I do not think say kudus mo be no Nancy check it omone media ma ball game bi media me raw talent in American wasa you might have your issues you are entitled to your opinion me no problem that is my opinion Machine closely who players and they will be there when to release the ball when to hold on to play when to release the pass
so make war points
omone media ma or head ball be share baby a ball ni free so benya go na inti ono Manuel no Hubert Joe Salim Adams I think these are players so Ebenezer
Augustine Okra Jao Ano
Emmanuel
Salim
Emmanuel Ano Salim
Emmanuel Ano
Salim Adams Hubert Joe Ebenezer Aban. I think these guys, if they are given a chance, Razak already so no dey huna antina me money. If omo accepting, I think any bad. This particular game.
So when you omo kwatoko.
So nya go ne mawa if obetimi forward na akwa akonya go na.
How the okasa na me show se beba.
Yeah. Player ni ball account for. Obi ni ma dey ya just one avenue. Me say, yeah, my shape players to say Mudasiru Salifu closely, Latif and Nabila a player. So I'm Bobo no now show mu say out him say.
Latif
Omukuta raw talent. I don't know fair.
We are saying Utinya now.
Richmond Lamptey say Charlie. Their players are my ball league in Libya. They've been overlooked. You share down show muye. But I think say coach
creative player.
This coach will succeed with the Blasters. But many just say first now can was I said opposite local players.
That's right.
And these are the names I mean so me follow Omo this season. Me feel say they have a chance with the Blasters. If they me who you know, Sano meet me as a Betiama coach you know Okra. Oh, yeah, what they mean for you so.
What would I say? Easy now. Where
the great man who you fancy.
Okay.